Welcome everybody to EGFC Season 4, Week 13. My name is Viking. I'm here with my co-caster Nerds Corners, and we're excited to bring you some really great CSGO action. We've got a full slate of matches tonight, starting in just a couple minutes with RIT versus University of Montana, then Marquette DePaul, Idaho versus Villanova to close us out. We're going to see a lot of Inferno today, just a repeat of last week because who doesn't love the classics? But we're going to start off on a different map, which I am. No, sorry, that comes later.
Aw.
I misread the schedule. We're starting on Inferno because
But
that's just the world that we live in.
well, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I did hear you mention a slightly different map, which I'm excited for. We haven't seen too much of it. Ascent Ancient. I'm
Ancient.
mixing up everything, and I mean, wrong game, but still interesting nonetheless. As we're gonna be getting into the first round, RIT versus University of Montana.
Yes, RIT, our fifth place team going against Montana, who are just behind them in the standings. RIT's had a good couple of weeks. I mean, they've had some tough losses, but overall have been pretty solid. While on the University of Montana side, they haven't picked up a win yet, they have picked up a win, but are still working on getting themselves into those standings. So we have University of Montana on the CT side right now, RIT on the attack, and wasting no time. That aggression from RIT comes in with a whole bunch of kills and leaving just the duck in CT to try to do something is not going to be enough. Ningso, the captain from the RIT squad, closes it out. Very quick round one, and perhaps a little bit of prediction of what's to come.
I mean, they're really closely seated, so I'm still looking for a tight matchup. I love to see it. I think everyone loves to see it, but when you're starting off on such a classic map and with the I don't know, I feel like it could still go either way. The buy still coming up from RIT, so they can use their advantage of winning that opening pistol, and the hold from the Grizzlies works out. They're able to hold off, but it's legend with the trade and numbers.
Nice slow down and a good read from the RIT squad, not wanting to give anything up too early, just playing around the AKs and the Galil that they've bought, knowing that Montana not having purchased anything into it, you can never be too careful, just because if you end up running into like a CZ or something of that nature, it can be pretty unpleasant. But so far, only Ningso lost down to the USPs, made that two, including Shu Tang, and a third.
Oh,
Suddenly, the University of Montana has weapons. Not only do they have weapons, but they've found quite a few kills, make that almost a fourth. So with a kit, suddenly this could have been a winnable round, but they're going to have to settle with taking over those two rifles, which
I mean,
that's pretty
that's a
good.
lot.
He went for the
Oh,
defuse. I don't know quite what Frank was thinking there. It cost the Montana squad another rifle, but Pickle is
at
going to
least
get away with that AK, and Hobo Job over here is going to continue to save that over. So suddenly the third round dynamic here is a little bit different than what we would have expected.
and I mean, they had a lot of aggression for RIT, and losing those rifles early on. I know you're on T side, you have it a little bit cheaper for all your utility and weaponry, but it's still, you know, you're losing AKs. You're trying to bonus, you're trying to keep up that economy. The snowball falls and it goes, but losing the rifles, especially powerful ones, to the CTs is not good. But the peak goes out. Shutang's able to grab Fuzzy, and the trade goes out. The site take commences. They know to peek. Oh, looks in that direction, but isn't able to get that frag. And another one falls for RIT. It's even in numbers. And Shutang says, nope, we're not gonna let you have that. We're not gonna, you know, casters. We're gonna instantly take control of this. Hopefully win 3 rounds in a row and push
Ooh,
on. Yeah.
great
Ooh,
shot by the
indeed.
duck there through the smoke. Just the right spam spot at the right time. And Chutang, who's been the absolute fragger for his team so far, is going to play in that aggressive position in church, knowing that Montana is going to play a little bit more conservatively that now that they're down 2 players, but they got to know that Chutang has got some damage on it. But it doesn't matter because they cross over into the door, and from that angle, that's an ace for Chutang. 5 kills on the board
Every
for one of the
single
RIT
one.
leaders.
And with 4 HP in a dream. That's stunning. Who needs all the analysis and economy when you just have someone like Chu Tang on your team able to pump out aces? And that is that just goes to show how well RIT is playing right now. And it is interesting to see they are slightly higher seeded, so it's not too surprising in the statistics. But before this gets out of control for Montana, they're gonna have to come together a bit. And if I'm not mistaken, Montana, they are slightly new to EGFC in comparison to Rochester, the Tigers.
RIT has been through the gauntlet of some of our kill leaders, our frag leaders, and
Oh
others
no.
in the league across the board
Oh,
over the last 16 weeks. And Montana playing really well with these pistols there is going to find that kill on Get Wrecked and just continuing to pick people off with those pistols even at distance. And once again, familiar name on the board, Chutang finally gets a little bit of revenge. But University of Montana have found 2 members of the Tigers. They picked up that rifle on the Duck. And with 2.57s left, this is a round that they could go for. I don't know if it's the recommended choice, but they're going to try for it anyways. You see the molly coming in, a couple flashes, and they're just going to start pushing through that smoke and probing for anything that might be coming out of it. RT is in a pretty good post-plant situation. You can see Chutang once again coming down with a double kill, and the flank from Ningso is going to clear that off. So Montana, really bold move to try to go for it with just the 5.7s, find a little bit of value on it, but ultimately not enough, I think, to merit having lost the AK, especially looking at their buy is going to be okay coming into this round, but definitely would
I
have liked to have
love
kept that
this.
rifle. But RT building up that bank, building up that confidence, and continuing with the the onslaught, and certainly up 4-0 right now.
Did you see Chutang's gun? It's just he's going with the AK, no skins, nothing. He doesn't need skins to shine because he's gonna shine himself through the box. He's able to grab Fuzzy Squid. That read, perfect check.
The
Your
duck.
corners. He pulls up and he is able to find one more. Chutang falls, surprisingly. So no aces, no outplays here, but it's looking good for University of Montana right now. They have 4 players left. That's the scope. The sniper is online and ready. They're just playing cautious, patient. Patience is a virtue. They were able to get so much, and with Ningso so low, 18 HP left, it's almost a 4v2. Oh, almost, not really, but very close.
Really like the plays by Montana here on the defense for the B site. You can see they caught just a little bit of the lag of Get Wrecked as they started to push up into that upper banana position as they went towards the B site, and that was enough to get them another kill. Like you said, Ningso is pretty low right now, so Montana's in one of the better positions that we've seen so far. They've only lost Fuzzy Squid, but Frank with that op is holding on to that B site, and I think the fact that RIT is continuing that aggression towards B, Montana's going to feel pretty well positioned for it, and Frank finds Ningso on the opening, and immediately the refrag comes in from Frank. Excuse me, it wasn't even a refrag. Frank just killed all 3 of them right in succession,
Wow.
and the aggression from RIT shut down late in the round, and
Well,
that's going to be the first round on the board for Montana.
I was gonna say it is a refrag there, as one did fall. Legend was able to grab Texas Toast when I thought Texas Toast was gonna set up that crossfire brilliantly and just hide right outside of church, right out those doors, and be able to snag a couple players, but it did not work out, and in fact he falls.
I guess that
Thankfully
was all they
though,
needed, was a little bit of a distraction. But
of
Ningso
course.
comes back with that aggression.
Oh, what?
The Galil first, followed by the op. The aggression by Montana to try to play more up in banana and take a little bit more real estate control early gets punished pretty aggressively. So RIT, who just 1 round ago was really struggling to get on this site, suddenly finds it in the opening moments of this round. That's 2 players from Montana.
Oh,
Most importantly, that op is down. And on the other side, the classic Inferno setup of send most people towards B and keep your lurker on A just continues to give them more and more advantage. So now just Texas Toast left to try to hold on to that M4.
he's just vibing out on the balcony, having just looking at the view, catches one off guard, and with 5 players left, Texas Toast, you either ace here and become a legend, or wait as the timer ticks down and RIT pushes off of sight. I mean, this early in the game, I don't think that they're going to be pushing in. They're going to be snagging themselves 1 for the road and giving RIT a 4-round lead. Now, players like Chutang currently leading the scores for everyone, 13-2 on that KDA. But I mean, 1 player outshining the rest of their team. is, I mean, it's a lot. A carry is good, but how are the University of Montana going to play against them? I believe the round that they won, Chutang was eliminated pretty early on, along with two of their players. The aggression through mid, netting University of Montana a decent amount of space on the map, not only control wise, but also like in the mental of their opponents. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're going to try and do and relive some of that glory that they had.
Chutang definitely having one heck of a match. And as we say that, Legend decides to get on the action and finding the Montana player, the Duck, moved up into apartments. I think just from experience on this, I think the way that RIT plays, they're probably going to want to see Montana play back a little bit more. You can see that they're able to flash and swing out there and pick up a little bit. Spraying across is going to bring down Ningso just a little bit, but this is going to be a B site for RIT once again. They're going to get this bomb down, and now Montana is going to have to make that decision to rotate or not. But you can see two of the Montana players, both Texas Toast and Pickle, all the way coming all the way from pit. So they're going to lose those precious seconds. And there's 4 RIT players on this site that they have to find and deal with if they want a chance to even get back in this round. And they're almost down to 20 seconds on the timer. So they have to go right now or call the save.
I mean, there's 3 players just chilling right outside Banana. It's kind of like they're vibing, almost just waiting for them to show up, ready to leave the site. They know that there's players rotating. They've cleared everyone off, so they're not too worried about maintaining that site, but it's gonna bite them as Big Pickle's able to find 2 from the back, and that is going to be only 2 players left for RIT and no one for the University of Montana. They net themselves 2 rifles, but with the economy that they've built up right now and the beautiful shots from our producer, lovely to see Inferno this time of year. The beautiful shots from not only from the producer but also from the players at the end takes out 2 players from RIT, so they can't get those guns. They do have a built-up economy stacked up, especially with Get Wrecked at like 6k over here, so it's not too concerning for RIT. The Tigers are sitting pretty and roaring loud as they push in on Banana, but are they going to be able to fight off against Montana, who just currently pushed, and it's the Mag 7. I remember seeing a game previously with a some fun plays, some rather interesting plays with some shotguns and some Mag 7s as well.
One of my favorite guns by far, and we can see just a missed shot, but only by a little bit. It's going to take Chutang down to just 1 HP. So Montana, despite the fact that they're at a disadvantage in terms of the guns that they've got, actually doing pretty well to at least slow down the RIT advance. And that's 2 players that have 7 HP between the 2 of them. So even using that Mag 7 from a distance is going to be enough to get it. You can see RIT starting to move up towards the middle, the top of middle, and getting punished for it. That's the Legend down, and the Duck through the column finds Get Wrecked. So the 2 players that were at full health, the best chance that RIT had at a victory, gone in just a matter of like a magazine, not even a reload on the 5.7. There goes Chutang, and now just Job left with that off is going to try to just stay alive. And given his positioning, probably not going to happen. If Montana hunts this at all, they'll find him, and all they need to do is, make sure that they're not looking the wrong way.
Well, isn't it one of those laws, one of those unwritten
rules? Oh no, the
CS?
timing!
Oh,
that's getting CSGO'd for sure. So RIT down 1 round there. Montana showing that pistol rounds seem to be their bread and butter, and I think if they bring that mentality into their buy rounds, the way they've been playing that in terms of off angles, being a little bit more conservative, playing a little bit more back from sight, has been a pretty good counter to RIT. And then, like you said before, find Chutang, take them down earlier in the round, and you'll have a much better shot later on.
And this is where it's going to start to bite them a bit. The fact that they lost 2 of those players and were now able to bonus. Now that they lost another round, it's going to bite them. And speaking of bite, Texas Toast, he doesn't want to get eaten here. Nah, he's not going to get bitten so far by the Tigers. He's going to fight it off. Finally goes down to the Job and Chutang combination, the teamwork there, making it to a even 2-2. Rifles basically in everyone's hands, and I mean in the hands of an experienced player like Job, it's going to be that Mac 10 is going to be fairly useful. But let's see if Montana can retake this site. They're going to be slowly pushing on. Ooh, and they 1 falls to Ningso. Big Pickle's down. The flank, or I mean, they're trying to go for a pinch from Church, but I don't know if it's gonna work out. There's another smoke there, and so already bouncing on the barrels. He's gonna hide on the high ground. I think he's gonna be saving that op, and I mean, the op is so useful. The boomstick that we love to see. It's so
Oh, man.
powerful. Ooh,
Oh, no.
he's
That's
not
really
able to
rough.
save it.
A missed shot's going to spell absolute devastation for them. But they did a pretty good job. I mean, that's definitely an individual heroic round from Texas Toast. Unfortunately, Montana just not able to follow up on that. And that's a big credence to how RIT plays that post plant. Really good on the crossfires, really careful not to give up any free peaks. And I think what I'd love to see from Montana is earlier just choices to save. There's been a couple rounds where they definitely could have saved over some rifles previously, and that's going to bite them. We have an early trade, Get Wrecked and Frank both finding a kill apiece on either side, and RIT with a little bit of counter utility coming down is forced to slow down just a smidge, and you can see Montana getting really aggressive coming off of that A site. One playing in hallways, one playing under porch, so not much of an opportunity for a refrag. So Texas Toast once again really has to come through, and he is. Chu Tang goes down. That is exactly the player that they wanted to find. So now they just have to keep this A site coordinated. As you can see, RIT starting to make their move through apartments and that porch area.
Balcony. They know someone's coming from there. They saw the utility drop. A little smoke pushing forward, but it's gonna give some room for them as Get Wrecked. A little bit of he's just reminding their teammates of their positioning. Unfortunately, Hobo Job and Big, I was about to say he's able to grab one, but falls almost instantly. Legends do die, unfortunately, here as the University of Montana pick up another round. That's going to be the 10th round going in favor of them. Now, hopefully they can start to roll some of their economy. Again, this is CT for University of Montana. The Grizzlies, they have a lot of potential to win a couple of rounds here. You know, they don't need to win all the rounds in this half. They don't even need to even it up. What they need to do is win enough so that when they switch over to T side, they're gonna have a you know, they're not gonna have a mountain to climb. They're not gonna need to scale Everest here. They're just gonna need to have a lovely hike, a stroll through the park even. But RIT is not gonna let them have that, especially with Chutang and that Deeg.
RIT getting a little bit of revenge with the pistols here. You can see them finding their opening kills, and great shot as he crosses from the legend. It's going to give them complete access and control over the B site. And Montana, who were in such a great position to win this just based on the fact that RIT was down to pistols, suddenly in a little bit of a panic. They've got 2 rifles against 2 deagles, so they have to be very careful not to give away those one shots. But I don't know if they're expecting Legend to be there. Pickle takes down Hobo Job, and that's going to be the first obstacle to overcome, but immediately gets traded out. And that's going to be a big Pickle saying, maybe I'm just going to take a step back here. Maybe just going to let's see how it plays out. And a wise decision. If he saves here, this is definitely what we would want to see, but they're still continuing to make that aggression, which makes me a little bit nervous, especially as RIT continues to fall. So once again, Montana with a really high level of aggression and this all-out mentality, right? You've got to, they look at it and say, there's only one round and we're not going to live another day, so just go for it and see what happens. And unfortunately, each round, they haven't really got a lot from it. So great job to RIT making something out of nothing there, but Montana, I mean, I still would love to see a couple of his rifles saved over into the next round because they've shown that they've got the potential to do, you know, what they need to at least win some rounds.
Viking, you know what I would say a Big Pickle was in? He was in a pickle there. What do you do in that situation? I would say look for exits, which is what I was going to, you know, I love giving players benefit of the doubt, looking for some exit frags there in Church, but it just, you don't know until you know if players have pushed off site or if they're not there. Clearly in this situation, their B rushes are so perfect. I would love to just know the statistic of how many times they've been executing onto that B site. I think A was only twice in these rounds, if I remember correctly, if I recall. But regardless, it's enough of note. They've been executing on B really well. So maybe sending 3 players, maybe even gamble stacking with 4, leaving 1 for A for that lurker to catch them off guard, as Texas Toast is able to get one here. As we, you know, obviously you have a lurker on A, you want to spread yourself and have a lot of map control, but maybe, just maybe, make a slightly risky play, but it could work out for them as the Legend answers for Big Pickle. and is able to get one more. That is only one player left, only Texas Toast saving a rifle.
Better end result for Montana there, at least in terms of being able to save it over. Unfortunately, they invested a lot into that round and didn't really get much for it. That AK is good, but it's not as great as having full rifles with full utility.
Yeah.
And I think what we found, RIT has figured out, if they just go, hold W key, put their foot on the gas, they're going to win most of the time. And the only way to really counter that is to have a bunch of utility, whether that's, mollies or smokes or whatever. And so far, Montana just hasn't really been able to do that. They know that RIT is coming into this. That flash is going to come out. They're going to get a little bit of damage down, but it's not going to be enough to find a kill. And that's going to leave RIT pushing on to site, just searching for those heads. Ningso going to find the opening kill as they aggress onto the B site. That's going to leave just Frank back in the Coffin's position with the M4, spraying through the smoke, desperately trying to find anybody, but only has managed to take down a little bit of health off of Ningso. And with that, Chu Tang goes on an absolute murder spree, comes out, finds 3 in total. Texas Toast finding a little bit of revenge, but only one of him against 4 players from the Tigers. That's probably going to be a get out of there as quickly as you can. But as we've seen before, Montana really likes to go for it and just see what happens. And unfortunately, this time it's going to end with a Legend 45 and that op. So I like the effort, but not quite enough to net them the win that they were looking for.
I was gonna say they're Montana is the type of team to go in there. You don't know until you know. You want to push in there, do some damage, and have a fun time. But I think that it's just I like the adaptation of their strategy. Montana did have a couple of extra players on that site. They didn't just leave. The classic 3-2 split. They had people ready to rotate really quickly and take a lot of space. And they bought up a lot of utility, stack that B site, but they're going A. It seems as though RIT knows that, at least feels, they have the game sense to realize, okay, we've just been dominating over on B. There's no shot. Players like the Duck aren't gonna know about it. Grabbing Legend, making it slightly harder for RIT to set up their crosses and to get ready for this retake coming out from University of Montana.
It's a big moment for Montana here, and they have to do everything that they can to get into it. But Shutang finds the first kill. Texas Toast immediately on the refrag is going to leave just 3 players from the University of Montana. This is round 14, so that means there's only one left out of that. But Hobo Job, playing from that pit position, finds the double kill and leaves just Texas Toast once again alive with the op. And he's got no choice but to run and save that op until potentially a win in round 15. That's what they're going for. 4-11 is the best that they can hope for right now, and it's really what they've got to go all in on. They have the money to do it. They really just got to put that money for utility and get at least a couple more mollies on the board. And yeah. I think, unfortunately, like you said, they stacked B, which is the right side, but I think they stayed over there just a little too long, and that left A side open. So if they can do this a little bit earlier, I think they've got a better chance of taking this last round.
It also shows how well Rochester is able to kind of read into it, to understand, all right, we've been consistently going here. These guys are finally going to be on a buy. Where are they going to go? And they are going to go towards B. So we're going to just run it into A. And it's the unmatched aggression from players on Rochester's side that just stumble, make University of Montana trip over themselves in some situations. The aggression from Montana is good. I love to see players go for those plays as a caster. I find it amazing. And I almost got a spray transfer there for Fuzzy Squid, but not capable of it. There is only Get Wrecked left for Rochester right now against 2 players, Texas Toast. And again, I was saying, like, it's now a 1v1. It's now okay. Well, as I say it, Get Wrecked is able to catch a timing, get CSGO'd, and now it's a 1v1 with a bomb planted. It's going to be a big pickle here, and 4-11 is what they're hoping for. In a 1v1, it's kind of anyone's game. The flash, the peek. He's gonna spray them down. They know where each other is. They both the players know where they are. But a nasty flick and a shot in the head gives RIT the round. That's gonna be 3-12.
It's a big mountain for Montana to climb. but they can do it. I believe in them. They got a good shot. They've shown that they've got the right tools in terms of their player set and how they were able to mostly play around it. I think they were just missing some key adaptations. Part of that was making sure that they were able to keep over some of those rifles. Others was just saving a little bit more frequently in order to get more of that utility onto site to counter that aggression a little bit earlier. But Montana on the attack now is going to take a note from RIT. They're going to push aggressively into that banana position. You can see them favoring that B site. It's going to be enough for the Tigers to call for the rotation. And you can see the Legend 45 moving to that cross. The smoke comes over, Get Wrecked finding the opening, and it's just a bloodbath so far for the Tigers, as the rest of the Montana squad tries to flood into it, but it's not going to be enough between Job and Ning. So the site is completely locked down, and that is the opening round to the Tigers. Montana now faces an even more dire situation because without that pistol round, they're going to have to force into this if they want a chance to bring this back before RIT finds their 16th round. We'll see if they can do it, but so far they're opting for just the pistols, so they're going to go for the full save and all buy into the next round.
University of Montana. I'm sorry, but sorry for interrupting, but University of Montana has done a lot with those pistols. An ace for Ning, so I can't even feel justified in that in stating that. I was like, they've done so well with pistols. We saw them do some crazy outplays. And then Ningso just comes in there and absolutely dominates. I don't know what to say to that.
It's a real quick round. The best example of how to properly use utility and peeking when you know that your opponent is in a disadvantage. Montana comes back with their buys, but RIT getting really aggressive, pushing all the way up into the mid is going to net them not one, but 2 kills. And the Duck, having pushed up into apartments, is going to find a counter, but they're going to be pretty exposed that they're really stuck in alt mid. They don't even notice that Chutang has come from that underpass position, and that FAMAS, which is normally the bane of people's existence, has become the bane of existence for the T side, leaving just the Duck playing from that boiler position against 4 players from the RIT squad. He couldn't find the first one. Ningso getting a lot of utility out of that MP9. Another quick round in favor of RIT. I think it's time that Montana probably starts looking at how they're going to play through the next map coming up, because this one seems to have slipped away.
Unfortunate set of circumstances here, losing the pistol, not being able to convert. I mean, I was talking about how well they play on pistols, and it's just a little bit of just unfortunate situation, especially considering that Chutang is just so capable and so knowledgeable about Counter-Strike. Oh, not looking in the right direction. Get Wrecked is able to get 1. That's 2 for Rochester. 3 players left. Even at 7 HP, they're not too worried about pushing up into this position, as it's 1 player left. Frank with a rifle and a dream. He's just swapping between the Galils just to see if he can get anything. Or sorry, the M4s. See if they can get anything. But it's just an Inkso and Legend. They just need to hold it. They're playing on CT. They're not the ones that need to go and plant the bomb. They're not the ones that need to be pushing into the situation. Yet they still do. And that's going to make 1 fall. Oh, and I was going to say it's very, very close. There is a possibility for University of Montana right there to start changing the pace, but it's just unfortunately not going to be as so.
It is unfortunate for the Grizzlies, but they have another map. Mirage is coming up pretty soon. RIT on their first map on Inferno, super dominant, 16-3. Montana, as we talked about, has had the opportunities. There have been options in places where a little bit of a difference of approach, a little bit of a difference of equipment could have made a huge difference in the outcome. A lot of differences in that sense. So we're going to see them and what the adjustments they make on Mirage. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to let those teams get back into lobby, and we'll see you in just a couple minutes. Welcome back, everybody. It is map 2 of RIT versus the University of Montana. I am Viking here with Nerds Corner. Nerds, how you feeling about map 2 after we saw a pretty significant performance from the Tigers over Montana?
Well,
In
the
map 1?
Tigers had an amazing first half. They were able to do a lot of damage. 12-3 is really strong, and they're going to be starting off on CT side this time, which is it is a little bit harder. So hopefully Montana can pick some rounds up in that first half. They can gain some momentum and hopefully change the tides into their favor. But on the other hand, they are pretty dominant. They're seated slightly higher, and they have a sort of an expectation, right, to perform here, to do a good job. So it'll still be a toss-up between both the teams. Although I have a feeling that Montana is going to do a lot better here. Something's telling me that Montana is going to shake things up, especially coming up from a loss.
I like that prediction a lot, and I think that this is definitely the opportunity to set the pace that they want to on the T side. If they can get some of these opening rounds, it's going to put RIT on the back foot, which is not a really position that they had to play from on Inferno. So this opening tempo is really going to be critical. You can see one of my favorite opening rounds. They're going through Palace. They're going super fast on it. I'd love to see somebody coming out from ramp, so the waterfall works a little bit better. But we're going to see how it goes. Frank leading the pack, one of the leaders in the frags for the Montana crew in the last map, comes through, finds that opening kill. Pickle finds the second, and that's control of the site over to Montana. The rotation from RIT coming in is going to find that first kill coming from CT. Finds a second with a single click, and RIT quickly taking control back of this site. The Montana team is just desperately trying to hold on to what they've got, and it's not going to be enough. Chutang, that name that we saw so often and so impactfully on Inferno, once again comes through, gets a 4K that time from that CT position, and it's going to close out round 1. Montana, a little bit of a rough start, but not all is lost. We're only in the first round of many.
No, that was such an intense push coming out from Montana. And I literally said this at the beginning. They're going to be changing the pace. They're going to be doing some new strategies. They push through Palace from pillars. They get onto site, push on there. They waterfall. Even though they don't have someone coming ramp, they're still capable of being super successful, grabbing 2 players. And then it all falls apart because of Chutang, a star player for the Institute Rochester RIT.
And that quick waterfall just going right back to the same well, this time with a slightly different outcome. They do have not the bomb down, but a little bit more control over it. They find 2 kills, and that's going to be the close of round 2 very quickly. They did invest more into that. So you can see on the Montana side, not in the best financial position. It was interesting to see both of them to go for the same exact strategy back to back.
I mean, it worked really well for them at one point, but with better weaponry on the side of RIT, I don't expect it. The Tigers were there, they were ready, they had the bites that they needed, and the Grizzlies fell. They tried to push in, bear rush them, but didn't work out. And we do see some interesting weapons, Tech 9s and a shotgun. Ooh.
Hey, they're going for that apartments push, so maybe they're going to be able to find some use for it. We did point out quite a few times on the Inferno side that they had a really strong affinity and a high and almost oddly high level of success when they were just playing with pistols. Yeah. So this time they're kind of going all in towards that B side, at least initially, before they start to peel off a little bit. So we'll see if they can get some utility. The opening kill goes to Legend as he starts to push up for that cat, thinks better of it and decides not to pursue that any further. But the rest of the Montana squad is still just chilling in B apps. But you can see the bomb top of site or top of mid just hanging out on their own. I'm a little nervous about that because you lose that bomb and suddenly the dynamics of the round are very, very different.
God, look at how far RIT's pushed up.
They have so much information from that. They know exactly where Montana is going to be at this point. And that, I mean, they're on an eco. The same kind of thing happened in the last round. So we're not expecting them to follow like a default execute. But we've noted before that one of the challenges that Montana has been sort of like a consistent presence across the map where they're not giving away too much information and then are able to go more quickly. Oh. As I say that, Montana busts out of the apartments using the picked up weapons that they had, those 2 Tech 9s, doing an excellent job to at least get them the opening and the bomb plant before Fuzzy Squid goes down to that. Just Texas Toast alive to defend the bomb in that market position, but 3 players from RIT they're all looking in the same direction. It's going to spell the end of it. So another bomb plant. Big ups for Montana on that front, but another round win over to RIT.
And that is going to be 3 guns into the next round. Not only a bonus, but also a win. They did get the plant down, so the money is going to be piling up there. 3 rounds lost also increases their bonus by 1 more tick. Not at the max just yet, but still enough for them to get a decent buy here. Good amount of utility and a good amount of weaponry. And that's the advantage of also being on T side. They have slightly cheaper utility, but that's only going to spell an interesting story, because RIT, they have a lot of money, they have that bonus, so it's pretty even for both teams currently in terms of both utility and weaponry.
Glad to see Montana on the first proper buy. Not as much utility as I'm sure that they would like going into some of those executions, but because they're playing a default, they're probably just looking for the picks, so it's not a huge deal if they're missing a smoke or a flash here or there. And I do like the way that they're approaching this. They have a presence really across the map before losing 1, but getting the trade, so back to even, but they're not checking their corners, and Joe able to find that early one, tries to pick up the AK, but goes down to Fuzzy Squid, who's there immediately on the refrag, and as I say that, a second refrag comes in. So they're just trading back and forth, leaving just 2 players from either side. Frank with that op has been incredibly efficient. We saw what they were capable of on the Inferno side. Same thing with the Duck given moments, but they now have access to the bomb. They know that it's down by a ramp. So both of the University of Montana have now the difficulty of finding those 2 CT players, knowing that they're somewhere maybe in the vicinity of the bomb. And unfortunately for them, one of those players is Chu Tang, a name that we have said time and time again when talking about the Tigers.
Oh, speaking of, they don't see him. Oh, he's able to grab one in the pinch. The pinch is there.
Great clutch by Chu Tang. An excellent note just in how he's been performing for his team overall. You can see just by number of kills, he's not lost a step from Inferno. And
I mean, Chu Tang, that pinch was so good from them near the end, hiding behind boxes, being a little bit ratty, a little bit sneaky, but hey, that works out for them, especially if you're playing on that CT side. You have to let them come to you, as Legend lets them come right into his crosshair, sees them before the smoke goes out, and is able to grab them.
Great positioning, great use of utility by RIT in that really early, and I think that's just another moment where you can see a little bit of the greenness of Montana in how they're executing, or with or without a certain amount of utility. And dry peeking like that, unfortunately, against a team like RIT, is going to not always work out very favorably, because you're now just dealing with an aim battle.
Wow.
And Hobo Job from the CT position finds the 2K, and that's going to be the end of the Montana team yet again. And they have yet to pick up a round, but they've gotten close a couple times.
It's been hard for the University of Montana to find anything. They're at the maximum loss bonus, and they're going to be going for light utility. The hero rifle from the Duck comes out. Same thing with an op from Squiddy. So it's not completely barren. They have some stuff, but they're at the max loss bonus. And as I said, Fuzzy Squid falls. That's the op gone. It's just going to be really difficult for them to get through this.
Definitely an interesting choice to pick up that op the way that they did. I don't know how Frank got to that position, but he made it into window and almost picked up a kill. Wasn't able to close it out, but he actually, I have no idea where he came from. I missed it entirely on the mini map. But props to him. Montana does find 2 kills. The downside of that, I don't think it was really worth it for the investment that they made. That was an op who is found its way into Texas Toast's hands, which is good, but they did lose the other rifle, and the rest of the team didn't have much. This is going to put them in kind of a weird position, you know?
It is, and it's just so difficult to kind of play this out, because they're at the maximum loss bonus. They could have saved this round fairly easily. Oh, and this is going to be the loss of the op as well, especially in the hands of a player. They might be going for the knife to get some, not only some style points, but also some economy points as well. And he's definitely telling his team they know where this player is. And so with the assist comes out, they're all just kind of swarming poor Texas Toast. He's just trying to get some extra money.
Oh no.
But it's two
I think
tanks.
he got the, looks like he got the plant bug there a little bit, which is a rough spot when you're just trying to get that bomb down for the cash. But you know, props to at least making the attempt.
And I mean, this is where I was talking about how if they were able to, if they fully saved, maybe if they fully committed to that save, it could have been good, because the buy is also still broken. Fuzzy Squid's not able to buy a rifle with their team. The Duck is not able to buy utility with their team as well. And because of that, it's kind of shattered. The University of Montana is kind of like their utility and weaponry splintered in all different ways, and it's not coordinated like RIT is currently. They have the money, they have the utility, they have everything they need to be successful, and that's why we have the maximum loss bonus for teams to come back and do crazy reversals, but not in this situation.
You can see Montana spread out, getting ready for that execute. 3 players towards the A site, but will it be enough? They are able to manage to beat the molly. Frank comes out and finds Hobo Job on there, and the Duck coming from that lurk position is going to actually net 2 kills in favor of Montana, leaving RIT across the site. The continued onslaught is going to get them stuck in that Tetris position, so it's going to allow Get Right to just continue to pick people off with the op, and he's playing from that op position. He knows where Fuzzy Squid is. That's a really difficult position to get out of, but somehow Fuzzy Squid gets past it, because I think Get Wrecked was suspicious of maybe there being a flank. The Duck did some excellent work just getting people to be a little fearful of there maybe being someone coming from a different angle, and the patience that they're showing here has led RIT to switch. So now it's a matter of whether Get Wrecked is looking the right direction at the right time. And so far, the University of Montana's patience is paying off in spades.
But it's 20 seconds left. They need to get a plant, and I mean, the
Use
timing is there. The timing is there.
I don't know. He did. All right. Ninso is coming in for that rotation, and that opening shot from the op onto the head there in a second, because you had no choice but to get the bomb down. Get Rat closes out the round for RIT. Montana really looked like they had a chance there. They had the timing, they had the correct execution. A little bit better use of that molly that they had at the end there probably would have at least gotten them the plant. And what they do after the post plant is anyone's guess. But it was there. Again, Montana is always in these rounds. They haven't really been shut out of it. They just have to figure out how to close.
And I mean, they're doing. See, the thing is, they're doing this while having a broken up economy. 2 players on Deegs and 3 players on rifles. It's not a recipe for success. Although the Duck makes it look like so, and so does a Big Pickle.
Love that.
2.
Just more, and what a transfer from Chutang. Finds the double kill in mid there, and he knows where the third is. He's waiting for that under, or maybe did he see him? Yes, he did. He's waiting for that rotation, and he jumps out the right timing. Those sound cues are absolute killers. So Chutang, once again, just on an absolute rampage, finds that 3K. The bomb is down now at the top of mid, leaving Big Pickle as the only person alive from Montana. Only a rifle to show for it. There are 2 players from RIT. One of them happens to be very low. So maybe there's a chance that this comes to an opportunity. But with both players from RIT playing together and only 22 health on Pickle, it seems unlikely.
That's I was going to say the AK has that long range potential, but unfortunately that's not the one that gets the final kill. And this is where I keep, it's such broken up. It's kind of broken up for Montana. They can't all buy together. They can't all consistently purchase things up, because even right now they have like full, almost full rifles, but technically can't buy.
It is, you're right. And that unfortunately is kind of putting them into, I think, that mentality of, hey, we know that we've only got a couple rifles here, but I can do okay with the Deagle. and we've got to get around. And it's a cyclical mentality, because you think about that, unless you pick up another rifle in round, it can be difficult to really find much out of it. The Legend, playing from that position, does find Texas Toast trying to get up into that con position, and Frank knows that someone's there. He's just got to find the right angle, and there it is. Those spam spots are really fantastic sometimes. This leaves us at a 3v3 and made that a 3v2 as Montana starts to make their approach to the B bomb site. You have Chu Tang that's sitting in that ladder position, it looks like, and just letting everybody go by, and I don't think anybody checked for it. So he's going to actually be able to come up Cat, able to get one before going down to Frank with that op. That's going to leave a 2v1, and a Hobo Job coming from the mid position up through Cat is going to try to make something happen. Frank gets a sense that maybe someone's there, and he's looking for that other player to come. Ooh. Frank, absolutely monstrous there, finds a 3K for his team and the first round on the board for Montana in this map.
Okay, I don't want to be too pessimistic, because that they just went around, but because they had a splintered economy for a little bit, and because the economy has been so stacked in RIT's favor, this might not be it might not be as secure just yet. They're gonna need to really hone in, win this round and potentially the next one afterwards, so they can start snowballing. And the Duck is literally saying, hey, you know what, we hear you, casters, we hear you, nerds, we're gonna be moving on forward, and we're gonna hopefully open things up for our team.
That was a great play from the Duck there to leverage and feel that someone was coming through from that connector position and find it. Same thing with Frank there. These opening picks from Montana are going to be huge. They have to be able to close it out and take advantage, but there is an MP9 and 2 M4s left. Make that 1 M4, so Montana is suddenly looking entirely in control of this. They just have to deal with Chu Tang playing from that jungle position.
Again, I mean, because their buys were splintered, it was really difficult for them to come together, and that's why it took them so long. Thankfully, though, the Zuck and Frank on two sides are capable of closing it out in the end, and
it's a great confidence booster.
They want it, so I guess I gotta give them props now. They're starting to snowball, get that money. The utility level is really high for them, so.
The greatest thing from that definitely is the damage to the economy, and that's forcing RIT in this position to just be on pistols. So Montana has to be careful not to give it up easily. As you can see, Texas Toast dealing with the onslaught coming into Palace. Luckily, it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade and only an AK down. Unfortunately, that AK might end up in the hands of Chu Tang, who's the only member of the RIT squad with armor. More importantly, Montana just narrowly avoids giving away the bomb position. So they've got some options here, but you can see that Montana's already got a presence on the B site as the rest of them start to rotate to it. But Chu Tang, you can see him just chilling at the top of stairs. And once again, they don't look behind them. And that's going to be a free kill and a rifle in his hands. So Montana, instead of turning around to deal with a threat, are just going on to site. They know they have the numbers advantage. They're going to get to that post-plant position. They know where Chu Tang is. They have to be able to deal with him, which is an entirely different problem. And of course, he picks up the molly, forces the Duck to stand up, loses his head in the process. And that's going to leave just a 2v2, a situation that should have been much simpler, now in dire straits. Fuzzy Squid peeking from the bench, finds Chu Tang the biggest threat to the team, and that's going to leave just Hobo Job to try to make something out of it. But Fuzzy Squid comes in, the hero of Montana, in round 11, going to secure the victory for the Grizz and put the Tigers at just a 5-round deficit, or advantage, excuse me. And I don't know, maybe RIT has got something to worry about here.
I said this, Montana's going to be playing differently. It took them a little bit longer than expected for them to get there, but they did get there. They were able to get to the point where they're starting to win rounds and gain that economy. I was worried that maybe in terms of economy and loss and buys and bonuses, they wouldn't be super successful if they couldn't pick up at least 2 rounds here. But now that they've started, 4K, 7K, 8K creds for all the members, or for the majority of the members of Montana, the Grizz is looking strong as ever up against RIT.
They're going for what looks like an A split here. The bomb alone at A ramp, and we've got one player in Palace, three at the top of mid, trying to deal with just two players from RIT. The double molly going into window is going to stop Chutang from making that rotation into window and giving them maybe just a little bit more time to focus on that execution. But three players from RIT are already on the A site. That's going to be a very difficult take for that 2v3 coming from Montana, especially since they used that smoke really early and didn't get a lot from it. They were able to take a little bit of space into Palace, but not enough to see much benefit for it. And Chutang dropping from ladder room onto the cinder blocks there, finds the double kill, goes for the third, isn't able to close it out yet, but his teammates on the A site close out all but Fuzzy Squid, who's just desperately trying to hang on to life at the chair position, but is going to be met by all four of the RIT players in the vicinity, and that's going to be a quick end to Montana. So the momentum that they built suffering a little bit of a stumble there.
It's rather unfortunate there, but they do have, like I said, they do have a built-up economy to fall back to, and that's the benefit of having that economy set for you. But with all players from RIT, I believe it was all of them that stayed alive, that is going to start building up their economy rather quickly, and it's going to be something for Montana to worry about. Same thing with Chutang being a menace on the server, pushing through mid and being able to grab the duck.
I think he just caught a couple pixels, and this is actually a really great position for Montana to be in. If Frank had been able to get that kill, that's an automatic control of the B site. Montana, not expecting that to happen, now has to split up a little bit and deal with the different positions of the RIT squad, especially on the rotation. But they continue onto the bomb site. They are going to get out. That's going to give them a little bit of it. It's like they line up and almost give Job the double kill, but somehow Pickle manages to stay alive for just a moment before losing his life. And the rotation coming in from Cat, which could have been massive, unfortunately it comes up short. So another round on the board for RIT, and Montana again getting really, really close, just missing a couple of key components to close out those rounds.
I mean, I've been in this place before. Higher on the streets. Deja vu. 12-3. I hear the chuckle coming out, but it's 10-3. 2 rounds away from going to the half, and we did see a 12-3 scoreline on Inferno. So seeing it here, you know, we've been in this place before. Higher on the streets is not too far off, as Fuzzy Squid is trying to change that.
Still making progress on it, and I mean, they're getting at least damage down, if not outright kills. So again, Montana is making the moves that they need to keep themselves in each round to the bitter end. Right now, they don't have a lot of map control. They don't have a lot of information. So this is continuing to be a difficulty for them in round 14, but they've got a good amount of, we'll say, grit. They've got an AK, they've got an op that should be enough to at least give them something. Ning So playing really aggressively up into kitchen is going to find the first, misses the second and the third. That's going to cost RIT an op in the kitchen space, going down to the Deagle. But the Legend on the rotation coming from underpass, and Montana, who's had a lot of difficulty dealing with what's behind them, I don't think are aware that there might be something coming in to deal with, especially because Montana has now made the decision to change, to move around. Pickle finds the Legend in that flank position, but his teammate, who had ventured out into the mid area, loses his gunfight. So unfortunately, a 1v2 position, and I think Montana probably are giving away sound cues. You can see Hobo Job hears enough footsteps to make that movement towards the A site. The rest of the RIT squad moving over in that direction, and the timing is just not going to work out in Pickle's favor.
And I mean, it was looking so well for the University of Montana. They were able to pick up 3 rounds, and at this point, I thought I saw the round win, and I was like, no shot, they just killed Big Pickle. No, they were able to hide away, keep that operator, but a lone operator up against a fully stacked team. We're gonna have to okay, now Montana does buy up some rounds. It is the final, I believe the final round. Yes, 16 in this half. So they have some room to work with. They can just fully buy and hopefully get a round where they're you know, on the run. They don't have as much economy, they don't have as much weaponry. With Texas Toast already being at 52 HP.
Great positioning for that refrag. That's exactly how you have to play that. If you're going to put the op out there at the top of mid, trying to get at least information, if not that outright kill, you can't leave them alone because you always have the opportunity to lose that op on its own. GetRagged finds one at the top of mid, but there's still two players from the Montana squad there looking for some kind of value, and the battle for mid so far, surprisingly, going in favor of Montana until GetRagged makes that adjustment, comes out from Con and finds Fuzzy Squid. RIT once again at the advantage for players, and Montana kind of stuck in the same position that we've seen them when we get to this point in the round. They've only got two players left, but as I say that, Frank finds another kill coming out of window, which is going to give them a little bit more flexibility to move around. RIT is split up right now, so if Montana makes the decision to commit to B as an example, they actually have a pretty good shot of taking the site uncontested, and then it's just a matter of can they hold it and can they get that fourth round. But as you can see right now, Montana's thinking, nah, let's go to A.
And I mean, it's close to the same scoreline. It's getting there. But Montana does not want to end it that way. They don't want to keep it at that level. Texas Toast, I just see picking up some utility as well from some corpses. He's able to get at least a leg up, and with Hobo Jobo down, it's 1-on-1. There's still a decent amount of time. The pressure is going to be on.
Oh no, the pixels betrayed that head. That was an incredible effort by Frank there. I love to see that. I'm kind of sad that it didn't go out the other way, but instead we find ourselves at the exact same scoreline we saw us at the end of first half on Inferno. This time we're switching positions, so maybe Montana's got the opportunity to bring this back. Last time they went the remaining half without scoring an additional round, so they're going to try to buck that trend.
Deja vu. Been here in this place before, and the place is Inferno, a very classic map. We did get to see an Inferno Mirage combo, a classic set of two, but I believe it's Marquette and DePaul next, a really contested matchup here that's going to be taking us all the way to Ancient. So I'm excited for that. But we're here now in this half. RIT, University of Montana, what can you guys do? You're on CT, you just have to defend, and it seems like you're doing slightly better with 3 players down for RIT.
Love these trades coming in back and forth. It's favoring Montana. They're doing a great job with these USPs and leaving Justing so on site. The bomb did go down, so that's going to be a small check for RIT as they think about the round. But otherwise, exactly what Montana needed to do.
Change the pace. Get into a different groove. I mean, they're going to be buying up here. Winning the pistol is going to give them some, they're going to buy up some confidence. But RIT, never the team to be on the back foot, is also going to be buying up. We see some AKs with low utility, some pistols, tech. Oh no, it's just mags instead, and they're going to be going with some more utility there, but up against the M4s doesn't work out.
A little too early on the pulling out the utility, assuming that people aren't going to come back and double check you in window, leaving RIT once again down to just 2 players to try to take that site before they both go down to Montana. So Montana finding their second round, their 5th of the game, this map. And they got to be feeling pretty good about this. They took a bye from RIT. They won that pretty handily.
And I mean, this isn't going to be, they don't want it to be a repeat of last time. They're not going to be going down without a fight. And I can tell that they're changing things up, switched up their play style. RIT is going to have to go for a save. They bought up the previous round, and Montana, they're just doing a good job of playing with that mentality. If they have to come to us, we do not have to go to them, and their aggression is going to be their downfall, as is Texas Toast.
This has got to feel really good for Montana to be in this position where they, barring some sort of crazy plays from GetRagged with the Deagle as he almost gets a kill there, should be another round for them. So already much better position than they were in the first map. The second half of this map on Mirage doing really just wondrous things for the momentum. They've got to keep that going. RIT definitely has given up some rounds and then come back absolutely screaming, and they have to avoid allowing them to get back to this point if you're the Montana team.
Shooting at 4, get wrecked at full. Them being relatively close to making the score half of their opponents and starting to climb the mountain as Get Wrecked falls. And it's just Chutang with 4 HP, a Deagle, and a Dream. And I mean, in that situation, what do? You're one of the better players for RIT side. You go, you push, you try to find some exits, and that's exactly what works out for them. The duck falls, and so does Chutang.
Careful, concise. That's all they need to be, and that's what's going to get them that 6th round. So congratulations to Montana. They're making their way back.
It's not Everest though. They have. It's not as daunting of a task. They have a decent chance of evening things out, either taking us into overtime or just consistently winning these rounds with the momentum that they currently have. And we do count map differential here at EGFC and at EGF in general. So them winning these rounds still counts for something. They still have some advantages for it doing so.
And as they're in that battle for that who's 5th and who's 6th, that becomes even more important. RIT so far winning the head-to-head, but doing a pretty good job of keeping it close on the side of Montana. The little struggle here is RIT finds their footing and just presses W again, something they've done quite a bit. Took control of both sites really there in that position, and it's just going to leave Texas toast. And this is kind of a familiar situation to what we saw on Inferno. So I'm hoping that we're going to see the obvious save opportunity and that they're going to be able to hold on to those rifles. But like I said, RIT comes roaring back and finds a very quick and efficient win for this round. And Montana now has to be prepared for that, and they have to slow it down if they want to continue the trend that they started at the top of this half.
And with the bomb ticking away, 1 player left for Montana. No players left for Montana. Rochester picks up another round, and once Rochester starts, it's really difficult to stop them. They're on CT, so they have some advantages that we don't need to be pushing out. But Rochester, they have such a good job of being aggressive. It's, I mean, it's perfect to see the Tigers and the Bears. The Tigers running in there, roaring. The Bears strong and sturdy. But which one will win out in a fight? Which one will win out? We'll have to see as this round progresses. Montana did an amazing job so far, but once you give some weaponry to RIT, it's just hard.
Clicking away is going to give a little bit over to the Montana team, who opted to buy nothing except for these 257s that you see on Frank and Texas Toast. That is giving them a surprising amount of efficacy here, as they've managed to get 3 out of the 5 Tigers down and only a little bit of health left on Get Right. Suddenly, this round that they, I think the way that it started off, probably expected to go pretty quickly and pretty easily, suddenly in a lot more danger. And you can see the Montana team being very patient, holding the angles and not over peaking. But unfortunately, without armor, that's a really difficult thing to deal with. So Texas Toast, who had gotten their impact from that gun so far, is not able to close it out. Frank, however, picks up that AK, and while he does have 100 HP, he doesn't have armor and Get Wrecked. Noticing that somebody might be coming from either the cat or market position, comes out, gets the timing right, and closes that out for RIT.
And it's 14-6, 2 away from match point, 1 away from the threat of it, and they're gonna be able to buy up this round. University of Montana, they have to play. They either have to win this and play perfectly so they can win out, or they only have 1 round to play around with to get into overtime. Then after, it's a lot of pressure for Montana, which just goes to show how well these teams are playing, how well these teams work, and how strong their mentals have to be to win out and continue playing here. But as the duck falls, so does Get Wrecked.
A lot of aggression, of just not even fast, but just confident movement from RIT is how they've been playing this, and that is exactly what got them the kill just there. They are trading back and forth so far in favor of RIT, and that's going to leave the Montana players towards the B site currently alone. So they still have control of that, but RIT has figured out that's where they are, and you can see that the legend has already moved into CT. So if the Montana team is making their way onto the A site to try to deal with this bomb plant, I don't know if they're going to notice that he might be there or if they have the angle. So as they push past it, you're going to watch that mini map, and now we see the legend, unfortunately, just look in the wrong direction. And that, unfortunately, has been really the kind of story of how Montana's just had some of their cards fall today.
And how it's crazy to see how spread out RIT is. They're hunting, looking for them. They're not setting up their crossfires anymore. They're not setting up their post plants. They're not really worried about it. They're confident that they could just leave Ningso on site and that he'll be fine on his own if anyone comes to retake it. I don't know if that if it's confidence or ego or whatever you want to call it, but I mean, it's working out for them with 15 rounds. RIT is proving why they are the 5th seed out of this tournament, or the tournament out of this split.
Yeah, they've shown a great propensity for victory here. Obviously, pretty convincing wins so far. Montana getting aggressive, just trying to get that early information, is going to get punished. It's going to be one player down, made that 2 to the legend, who again just continues to confidently walk out onto the A site. And just 25 seconds into the round, full control of the A site. And the last player from Montana is erased. And that is a 16-6 scoreline in favor of the RIT Tigers and a second map win after their win on Inferno 16-3. How do you feel about that series overall?
Like I said, Montana was not going to be going down without a fight. They are going to bring some heat. They're going to bring some fire, but considering fires associated with Tigers and red, it seems that the Tigers are able to win out. And Viking, I mean, a little bit of lore on you. I know that you come from RIT, you hail from there, so your alma mater winning out, definitely a source of pride. How do you feel that they've won? I mean, I'm feeling kind of sad that Montana was not able to pull some stops out, but I still have hope for them in the coming season.
As the alumni, very excited to see that come through on the 2-0. As the caster, you always a little kind of find that favor for the underdog. So love to see the rounds and the effort that Montana put into it. Like you said, they put up a pretty good showing, especially on Mirage. And again, a few things changing, going a little bit of a different direction. We could be looking at a different outcome here. But unfortunately, that wasn't the way things landed today. So we're going to see if we can get ourselves an interview with the winning team coming up, as we've got a little bit of time between now and our next match. So hopefully we'll be back in a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere. Hey everybody, we're back with Chutang from the RIT Tigers. I am Viking here with Nerds, and we're excited to hear a little bit more about this match. Convincing 2-0 victory for our Tigers over here. Pretty significant margin, and now that's going to put you pretty close to contention for fourth place now. Technically speaking, you are now at 10 maps won, which is right behind Marquette at 11 and Villanova at 12. So actually a lot more competitive than I think even I realized as that was sneaking up. So opening question is, how do you feel about the position and the improvements that you've made over the last couple of weeks?
I think we've had some good form coming in, but the Yukon game does raise a lot of questions
Fair.
as to where we sit a lot of the time, because we got absolutely destroyed in that game for sure. Even on our home map of Inferno, we got one round, I think. So yeah,
It was a little rough. I was
it was a
rooting for you
bit of
the
a
whole
rough
time,
time.
but it
I
happens.
could try and make an excuse and be like, oh, we had a sub, but nah, I won't do that to him.
I appreciate that. And I mean, knowing that and where your positioning are, and I mean, really, once you break into that top four, like DePaul,
Mhm.
Yukon, Marquette, and Villanova are all pretty close. And
Yep.
it's kind of weird how, like, when they play against each other, they almost seem like entirely different teams.
Mhm.
So as you're starting to break into that positioning and deal with some of those teams, you mentioned the struggles that you have with Yukon. There has been kind of like a cliff between fourth and everybody else. But I feel like you've got the confidence to at least bring it out. Or is there anything that you're trying to really focus on as you see some of those teams coming up over the next few weeks?
I think what I think it all comes down mainly to cleaning up the play, because I know watching the team, because a lot of the times I'm spectating these rounds after running and dying, is that they can just hit their shots, right?
Mhm.
But we seem, I think this is a lot of time, but players and shit. Oh, sorry, family friendly show. Oh no, but a lot of time with the players, right? They're like, we're giving ourselves like 70-30 duels in their favor. So even if we
Mhm.
have the mechanical ability to do it, we're already putting ourselves at a disadvantage before like the fights even started.
Right.
And I think a lot of times that's how we kind of get destroyed in these rounds. And we keep compounding because we don't really change up anything or change up how we play. And I think that's how, if there's like even a slight edge for the opposition, we allow them to use that to like its fullest extent. So yeah, I think just cleaning that up will probably make the biggest difference.
So you guys are you talking about cleaning things up and making things better? So the
Mhm.
question has to be asked on that second map when you guys were losing some of those early rounds. How'd you feel? How'd you feel? You definitely cleaned things up near the end there,
Mhm.
managing to win out. But like, how'd you feel in that situation?
I felt like, okay, we were letting it slip a little. We came in with a good string of rounds, but we knew that they had kind of reacted to our like hyper aggression coming into those final rounds. And to their credit, Frank, I don't know, he has a lot of random letters at the end of his name, but he just kept picking us up off with the up over and over again. I think he had like 20
Yep.
kills by the end of that game, while the rest of his team was down because we just kept feeding him. So I feel like we didn't necessarily tone it down much, but I think we found a way to kind of play around that. So like they reacted to
Mhm.
us, and then we had to come in and say, all right, look, this is how we're going to switch it up, and
It's
it works like
all
that. Yeah.
all about those adaptations.
Mhm.
But one thing I do want to mention is a more specific question to you.
Okay.
You got an ace
I did.
really early on. Didn't even give me time to analyze or commentate. No, just swept them through. I mean, I already know how you're feeling from there, so it's not even about how you're feeling. How you set that up so well. Can you break down kind of how you set that up
uh,
for the people who might have missed it?
the round two, I think it was on Inferno, or
Yes, it
round
was.
three. They had guns that round. It was round three, so it was after the conversion. So Ning and I, we normally play up banana. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
Job, but most of the time it's me and Ning. And so we went in. So normally we like to instantly peek in to like the
Oh,
CT area, that pool area, just to see if anyone's holding it. And they had a guy there, so easy, boom, tapped him, gone.
of
Right?
course.
And then we had a smoke up on the mid site, and two of my teammates went around, and they both got picked off. I didn't actually see the guy in the smoke, but one of my teammates told me he was there. So I got the guy on site, and I just started spamming through it, got him, easy, right?
Nice.
And then the
That's
next guy
two.
in CT, I went into church. He was pushing up, so I don't think he was ready for it. Also, again, really good crosshair placement. Just tapped him. And the last guy was in CT. They were both there. And he probably should have killed me, really. But sometimes your opponent's just having a really good day. It's the 5th kill. That's the ace. That was it.
Clean sweep. Wow.
Yeah.
It's great to see both you and Ning getting Inferno aces.
Yeah.
We saw one. I think it was all of like 3 seconds between
on the
all
B
of those
site,
kills.
on Banana, yeah.
Yeah, that was we were saying that was textbook just utility usage, and I know that the utility damage counter at the end was exceptionally high after that. So it's got to feel good.
Yeah.
So as you're thinking about going next, any chance that we're going to see some non-Inferno maps coming up in your pool?
So Ning told us the map pool. I'm like, come on, gotta pick something else. He's gonna DQ us now. But he was like, they could have picked Anubis. I mean, that's on them too. So maybe we'll see if another team picks Inferno, if they get the first pick, you'll probably see something different out of us that isn't Mirage, just to spare you. But
Yeah, I think we're currently on a four matchup Inferno pick. So we've seen it in all of the last 4, which
wow. Maybe we'll switch it up for you against who are we playing? The Marquette again.
Yeah.
Not sure. Yeah.
I mean, I know that they obviously like to pick different ones. We're
Yeah.
gonna see Ancient coming up next, which I think is
All right.
a nice change of pace, but it's Ancient and Inferno. So
So yeah.
what are you gonna do? Nothing that we can really do about that. So with that being said, I really appreciate the time as always. With the final question, as we always do, anybody that you'd like to shout out or give a little bit of recognition to?
I think I'm just gonna start my brother again, because he came in and told me Montana's not a real place. It'll be an easy game.
Those are some big speaking words.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, appreciate that. The brother of Chu Tang, shout out to you while you're out there. And as the alumni of the rest of your team, love to see those big dubs up on the board. So that's going to do it for
the rest of my team, of course.
Of course. I mean, it's
implied. Can't not shout them out.
They know how much you love them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chu Tang. That is going to be all for today's interview, but we do have another match coming up. We're going to see Ancient for the first time in Marquette versus DePaul, the only team that has ever taken a map off of DePaul, and we're going to see how that goes. So we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to EGFC Season 4, Week 13. We are in our second match of the evening. Marquette versus DePaul, two crazy powerhouses, and Marquette being the only one to have ever taken a map off of DePaul. I'm Viking here with Nerds Corner, and we're getting right into the action today.
And we're going to be going on Ancient, as Just Rich is already able to grab a player. Oh my god, the players from DePaul University, they're just starting to assert some of their dominance early on. It's still 3-3, but they're on the site already.
This like tense standoff between them just standing around the corner. Fantastic. Steve-O holding that angle, finds that 1-for-1 trade, leaving Ace and Alter on the site. Two players that you want in a clutch. Gonna make that an easy start for Marquette, who's on the T side right now. So pretty good opening. I mean, that's exactly what they wanted to do. Set the pace, make it happen.
And Marquette, again, they were the ones to take a map off DePaul. DePaul being the first seed, being the ones in control for most of the games, the really confident players here, the semi-pros, right? They're some of the best. And Marquette is here to challenge them again and again. This is DePaul's pick, interestingly enough. They chose to play on Ancient, maybe testing out some new strategies and really trying to hone their edge more and more. As we already see two players down.
We can see those opening kills starting up, the rotations, and Marquette just cleaning them up as they push through. Once again, getting onto the bomb site, and who else is it but Alter with a double headshot, leaving only Def to deal with it, and only for a moment. He does find Alter, who got really aggressive going back towards that CT area. It's worth noting on the Marquette side, Steve-O in for the team. This is kind of their core roster over the last couple of weeks. Marquette's been down a little bit. They've been playing with their B squad as subs in some of these cases. Marquette does have a lot of rotations, but it's nice to see the game back together and just in time for a match that we all, I think, expect pretty crazy things out of. And so far, Marquette at advantage.
And crazy things indeed. They're going to be getting the second round secured. Obviously, after winning the pistol, the save, the light buy from DePaul is understandable. But how can DePaul answer for this? Def falls near the end. Unfortunately, so too close to that bomb radius. But they do have, I mean, they forced up a little bit, so they're not going to have as full of a buy on DePaul's side, and Marquette is going to hopefully continue their steamroll pushing forward, not only with utility, but also with good weaponry.
Yeah, I like the way Marquette's opened so far, and you can see them just barreling towards that A site in A main right now, not even bothering to leave somebody over on the other side. I think just kind of knowing that there's likely going to be low economy on the DePaul side, and that's the right call. They come in 2K for Just Rich, and the 3 overall for Marquette, leaving DePaul to try to push through that donut position, and both of them sitting there waiting for that smoke to clear, and you can see Marquette comfortable just hanging out, waiting to see where they might come from. Yif does have that M4, so maybe he'll be able to peek through that smoke and grab somebody. He does find that opening kill onto Just Rich, who got the 2K earlier, and the trade comes in. Suddenly, this the 2v4 becomes a 1v2 and a 1v1. Migs, the Marquette captain, against Yif from DePaul. He knows where he is, and he's looking the wrong direction. Migs takes a very uncomfortable position and still pulls out the win for Marquette. But DePaul's got to be feeling very confident in the results that they had there with almost no investment.
And this, speaking of investment, Marquette, they didn't have such a heavy investment in that round. They carried most of their weapons over from the previous one as well. So they're sitting comfortably here with 3 rounds up. And like you said, investments, DePaul, they do have a slightly broken up economy, but still well put together, probably off the back of all of those eliminations and kills.
You can see Marquette already continuing with that aggression, just pushing towards the B site this time. They're going to run into just minimal really resistance, but it's going to be enough to get a 1-for-1 trade. Alter is on the op now, which is an incredibly dangerous thing for anybody on the DePaul side, but it ultimately isn't going to matter because they run into Def, the equal but opposite force on that DePaul side. This 3v3 with Ace down to almost nothing is going to be one of the few remaining players, and Def continuing his rampage onto the A side. It's going to be just Migs and Def once again. This time they know where it is, but it doesn't matter because the timing from Migs is just too dang strong. He once again finds the DePaul player Def and closes it out. A 4-0 start is going to trigger a timeout from DePaul already.
This is interesting. Marquette University being the only team to take a map off DePaul is already forcing their hand. They have to use a timeout. And it's not like these rounds aren't tight. It's not like they aren't close. They go down to 1v1s. Some star plays from Migs, for example, are what basically saved Marquette in that round previously. If it wasn't for Migs' crazy play there near the end, they probably would have had a different story. DePaul looked very good on the retake, but they still were capable of it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is exactly what we hope to see from this matchup. We have two teams very close in the standings. Again, the only ones that have been able to take a map off of DePaul so far this entire season. And they'll say it's because they had a sub at the time. But all credit to Marquette. When they're at full strength, they can certainly stand toe-to-toe. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. And Migs is the leader of the Marquette squad for a reason. And when he's on, the same can be said for Alter and Just Rich, who have had incredible impacts even when they've been playing with subs. So I think this is going to be quite the game if this kind of aggression continues. And if DePaul can't find an answer for it, we may see like a weirdly one-sided map in an unexpected position where we expected a much more back and forth trade.
And DePaul picked this. DePaul chose to play on this, so they're probably testing out different strategies and thinking of different place styles and how they're going to use their utility.
Just look at the Marquette choice.
Oh, this is the Marquette. Oh,
yes.
Well, a touch of different information, unfortunately, but it doesn't matter. I mean, Marquette chose this for a reason, I guess. They are doing such an amazing job here. 4-0. That's a really strong start, regardless of how the rest of the map goes.
Yeah, and on the T side. So the way that they've come out to just dictate the pace is obviously working really well for them so far.
Looking also at the scoreboard from players like Migs and Stevo, they are just doing such a good job playing with each other. Not as many deaths, but a decent amount of frags and kills as opposed to DePaul. And as I say that, Just Rich falls.
This is where I think it starts to get interesting because now DePaul not only has guns, but they've got an op. That being said, they've got two FAMASs and Breezy's at half health with that op. But you only need 1 HP to be real dangerous with that gun. And you can see DePaul has moved up, taking control of mid, and they're playing that crossfire, looking up into that cat area as Migs and Marquette, after losing some ground early on, starting to move into retaking and trying to get whatever information they can. It doesn't seem like they're all that concerned about there potentially being a presence in mid. They're starting to move up through caves, and DePaul starting to get that sense of like, all right, maybe we need to go to some other places and check that out. Migs quickly corrects himself, finds the first in mid, but he's got the bomb. He goes down to Sack, who finds the second with a picked up AK. Could pick up the third there with the angle, but goes down to Ace, who turns around directly into the scope and barrel of Breezy with that off. Just like I said, you don't need full health to do some serious damage with that, and that's going to be DePaul's first round on the board against Marquette. But even still, super close. Could have gone the other direction with just Migs picking up that second kill in mid.
And this is where the timeout's paying dividends. It's paying its investment off. DePaul it's crazy to see Marquette forcing their hands so early, but it works out so well. SK and Chris being able to clean things up in mid. Oh my.
Yeah, that's Sack's been kind of quiet so far, but there with the utility comes in real clutch and finds that the molly, especially in any round where you suspect there might be a little aggression, does absolute wonders for them. Def uncharacteristically misses that opening shot, but gets the second one to close out. Ace, Chris comes in with the swing. Not with an op yet. I'm kind of surprised. Chris is normally the DePaul opper, but they're choosing to spread the wealth a little bit more here. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple more snipers potentially come out on the CT side. There are a lot of long angles, and that certainly gives a lot of potential. You see the scout and the op still Breezy and Def. And Def, we've seen him do just insane things with that scout. So we'll see how Marquette deals with this. They are opting currently to... Oh my... I didn't even see the scope on that. It was so fast. And DePaul, sensing blood in the water, just goes all in for it and not punished for it at all because Marquette ultimately decided not to invest really anything.
I mean, Chris is just giving us a skin showcase here, having a fun time running around. It's just Ace. Just left alone, unfortunately, and that's going to be a third round for DePaul as they're picking up some steam, picking up some momentum. Maybe a time for timeout for the flip side for Marquette in just a couple of rounds if they can't pick things up. They're definitely rethinking some of their strategy here. Marquette, they pick this map, they're on the up, and they're currently at no money. It's only Migs with 50 bucks left in the tank, just enough to grab yourself a little bit of lunch, but not enough to buy up some weaponry next round if you can't secure it, if you can't win it. On the flip side, DePaul is sitting pretty and happy, stacked up after these 3 wins. But through the smoke, Steve-O finds Yif.
The spamming through smoke is always a double-sided sword there, because as soon as you put that out, they see the tracers, they know where it is. So if you're not 100% confident, you get punished, just like we saw there. But we also saw Breezy pushed up with that AWP, able to get the no-scope refrag, and DePaul has been so aggressive. They're taking so much map control. You can see that they've effectively just given up A site entirely in favor of holding on to mid and front of B site. So Marquette, instead of deciding that they want to try to push back, are still seeing if they can get some sort of value for just sitting there. But as the first minute ticks away from this round, they're going to have to start making some choices to move. I think right now, maybe they're just hoping that DePaul is going to lose interest and think that maybe they're going somewhere else. But of course, no luck, and Breezy finds Alter, who was trying to counter op, and that's the bomb down. So now Marquette's got to recover that in the... Oh, no! Oh, that is the worst case scenario for the DePaul team, or for the Marquette team, just continuously losing one by one the lives of their players.
And they're just hunting. They're trying to find them. And they do, but they don't win out that easily. Ace is able to at least grab one. That's 4-4. The scoreboard's even, and the loss bonus is going in favor of Marquette, but loss bonus is just that, a loss bonus. That means that they're not picking up as much steam as they should be, and considering that they had such a strong momentum at the beginning, and it was really impressive, it isn't... I mean, you gotta close things out on a strong note. You got to win things out here, especially on your map pick. Take another map off the Titans, but it's not going to be that easy as just Rich Falls.
I love the synchronicity of DePaul as they're throwing that utility into that connector position. We saw the initial 2 mollies to cover both sides, followed immediately by the 2 nades. That's pretty cool looking. Love to see that. And DePaul continuing with this aggression, just marching directly towards the T side, finds all of the kills are going to come down almost flawless. Just a couple of points of damage on the sack for the effort and the investment that Marquette has made. So coming into round 10, DePaul is now 5 unanswered rounds, while Marquette remains at 4. This is their first buy round back after 2 sort of eco saves, and they've really got to make this one count if they're going to keep it even, or DePaul is just going to continue to put that plow down and press W.
They had a fractured buy there. It wasn't super consistent, but we'll see how it works out. The trade's going out. Breezy falls near the end, and Migs is able to, unfortunately, not get anything as just Rich gets Yif at least near the end there. That's looking pretty good, and Migs has done some great plays, but with 3 players left and on the back foot, gets pinched in an unfortunate spot near that T-side bush.
Better results, but not exactly where they want to, and now they're back onto that save. So I think I would love to see them pushing more into mid and towards that A site.
Yeah, I mean, they've been going on to B for a hot minute right now. They've just been pushing, like, Migs just died outside double doors, outside ramps. So, like, it's just, like, if they're going to be staying in there, it's pretty easy to read as Def makes it easy and takes out one more.
You can just see how DePaul's got it in their mind that they want to be aggressive and they don't want to give any space. You can see them pushing directly up mid, directly into T-spawn from the B site. No fear whatsoever as they're looking through these double doors. They do not care, and they're just mowing down all of the Marquette players. That's now 7 unanswered rounds, and Marquette so far has not been able to find much of an answer at all. We've had some closer rounds, but a lot of this has been very DePaul centered.
And I mean, it's to be understood that DePaul is, they're one of the better teams. They have some advantages going into this mentally. They are the #1 seed in this series, so it's not too surprising, but still it's so crazy to see how Marquette's playing right now.
I mean, they had such good results from so much aggression early on that when that got shut down, they just haven't really been able to adapt to a slower play style with the same results. And they're giving so much information to DePaul, and they haven't really been able to force DePaul to respect this. You can see DePaul, who has played outside of A almost exclusively since they started winning these rounds, have now pushed everybody to the A site because there is no presence from Marquette at all towards that B site. So if they were trying to sell a fake, they need to put somebody over there, but they didn't. And so Marquette stuck in A main. And luckily they have some out faucets, but they've given up so much that DePaul is so far advanced that it's going to be a huge battle just to get back towards the site.
Oh, and there's 2 players already pushing and making their way through mid. Just Rich, I mean, if you peek this, you have to be confident. Migs with the flash and the assist. That's 1 player down. Maybe this vote of confidence and the slower pace works out for them as they're just going to be rushing into mid. They've given away their position, get 1 more in donut. Migs leading the charge for their team. They're going to be trying to execute on A, but there's the cross. Chris and Def just mow them down diagonally, just spraying into that donut area, and it's making donuts out of Marquette.
That one starts to hurt. They had, I think, the best round that we've seen from them in a couple. I mean, again, Marquette's still an incredibly good team, so it's not like they're completely out of any given situation, but DePaul has made it feel really, really oppressive, and that's exactly what we've seen. This, as the comeback for it, Marquette tries to beat out the presence onto the B site. You can see that they expect the DePaul presence. They come out, they get that early Tech 9 kill, but these 1-for-1 trades and the fact that they didn't have any presence in mid just allows DePaul to start racking up these kills going into the B site. They don't have a long-range answer, so they're having to deal with all these rifles. And with just Migs on the team, he does find Breezy, which is something, but it's not going to be enough to win this round as Sack closes it out. And the Marquette team still just struggling to find their footing here. That's now 9 rounds in a row without an answer.
And again, that timeout is paying more than just dividends. It's paying for everything. It's covering all the tuitions, all the school, and everything's there. DePaul's ready, and it's just Marquette on the back foot. I'm surprised Marquette hasn't taken some time to rethink, or at least a timeout of their own. They're going to just run into mid. It did give them a lot earlier, but is it going to give it to them now? 4 players left alive for Marquette.
Much better opening from them. That type of aggression that they want is exactly what they were able to execute on there. You can see them starting to stream out onto the A site, but being careful of the angles that they are likely to run into. And this is almost like a switch was just flipped. Marquette, after going literally 9 rounds without a win, able to come in there and make it look easy. I don't know if DePaul was just slipping or what, but Marquette looked absolutely flawless in that round.
That mid push really worked out for them. It worked. They did fake onto that A site just a touch, and then they rotated into mid, and that really worked for them. So now they're trying to redo that, and that's a smart play. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It almost worked 1 round. Maybe try it again. This is CSGO. It's 1st to 16, not like some other first-person shooters.
Oh my God, that was so dirty.
Crazy. And there's 2 players chilling in mid are able to grab Yif as well. Man, I was gonna say there are some rounds to play with, and they're playing so well here. S4K goes down.
Those are the types of rounds we love to see, those back and forth kills, those aggressive adaptations and reactions. And they're doing such a great job. And Migs being really careful, thinking that maybe someone's pushed through A main as the rest of the team's trying to find something, but that patience is going to cost them. Chris finds a double kill coming from that mid position, and that's going to trigger a rotation. Marquette starting to just run for it as they try to get into mid. And the rotation, they were able to bait that rotation off of A so well, and that gives them a free kill. Def didn't even have a weapon out at that point. So now it's just Chris, one of the impact players that we've talked about time and time again from DePaul, who hasn't really had a chance to shine here to play against the remaining Marquette squad. And right now, Marquette is going to get the bomb down for free, which is great. And now it's a chance of whether Alter or Chris is going to come out on top. And of course, Chris finds the kill. Alter goes down, leaving just Migs, but he's holding the angle. He's ready for it. He finds the headshot, closes out the round or the half. 9-6. Great job to Migs to close that out. And a huge congratulations to Marquette to break some of that momentum. Going to this next half should be very interesting.
And just the change of pace working out so well this time for Marquette is lovely to see. We get to see them currently on their map, in their pick, putting up a fight against one of the top team. I keep saying one of them, but I mean they literally are. I'm so used. It was from the previous round. They're like, oh, these guys are some of the top players, the top teams, but this is the top team that they have to put down here, and that's what they're going to be trying to do. DePaul trying to hold on to their dominance.
Wow.
Oh wow. What was that?
That was like not a missed shot in the bunch there. That was excellent.
Oh,
that's tough. I mean, you set the tempo there where you get the opening kill before the CTs even have a chance to throw their opening utility. That's quite the speed.
And then I just wanted to mention that EGFC gets a kill, picks up a USP, and then gets another kill right as he picks up the weapon. He picks up the gun and then instantly uses it to such great effect.
You can see DePaul here streaming onto the B site to no resistance. Marquette chose to just entirely stack on the B site. Didn't invest anything into it except for that P250. So they're hoping to get something out of it, but they picked the wrong site. It's a 50-50 chance. What are you going to do? And now they've got to deal with DePaul, who's out hunting. And why not? They've got a bunch of weapons. They have all of the advantages in the world. Why not go out and see what you can get? And so far, only costing them a single player is a pretty good trade. And that's how they're going to close it out. Breezy finds the last kill onto Stevo. So just losing Chris, I think that's something that they'll take every time.
I mean,
crazy stuff.
Eastside DePaul, they're meant to be dominant. You're on T side. You have some of the advantages in the economy. You have some of the advantages by like if you are an aggressive team that can execute, you are looking to always finish things off on T side, and it is working so well for DePaul. But it isn't over till it's over.
Trades going in and out. The DePaul team is going to take control of the A side. You can see the rotation starting to come in from Marquette through that cat and cave position, but DePaul is ready for it. Some late utility is going to make that a little bit more annoying to deal with. There is one player in the back, but he goes down. Ace is found by EGFC, so it's going to leave still a remaining 2 players on DePaul, and Marquette kind of paralyzed, sitting in caves right now, waiting for this smoke to clear. They're going to go in for this flash. The flash through. They miss Chris, who's sitting in the smoke, and finds the closing double kill. And that's exactly the kind of thing that we're talking about with the just dominance and the assertiveness that DePaul brings to it. So Marquette, fully capable of finding a response to it. They just haven't done it yet.
And I mean, they've already got them by half. DePaul is 6 rounds up on Marquette, 2 times on the scoreboard, and that is a lot of pressure for Marquette, who's not able to find anything here on the CT side. They have not been able to catch a single break as the mid push is going out towards A. They're just going to be aggressing here, and they are so confident in their pushes, not looking the right way. Just Rich is able to grab 1, but that's still 4 players v 4 players, 4v4s, and better weapons in the hands of DePaul makes it really difficult for Marquette.
You can see the Marquette team starting to come back into that position, trying to see whatever they can get for the investment that they've made. Not going to net them a huge amount because DePaul is just so aggressive and their refrags are just so good. They do find 2 for their trouble, but Marquette's still down 13-6, and this is when you got to start to think about hitting that panic button and you know, that with only 3 rounds left before the end of this map,
Yeah, they have a timeout still.
gotta reach deep for it, really.
I don't know. I don't know. Some teams are a little bit cautious with using timeouts, but I feel like tactical timeouts just give so much for both teams. He sees just a little elbow, right? Just a slight little chunky model, like a couple of pixels away, you know. Run on the treadmill.
Sometimes that's all you need. But once again, Marquette is going to lose control of that B site. The DePaul team just not really running into much resistance as Marquette continues to play around the pole there, which, you know, like it's certainly a good default position, but they're not really covering as many angles as they probably need to. And most key, they've been losing the op and not having anything for T ramp. Migs on the flank is going to find some damage, but not quite enough to close it out until Sack, Breezy, and the Molly doing all of the work for that team, and the just crosshair placement almost allows Alter to stay in that and find Sack, but with just a couple points of health between the two remaining players, DePaul once again closes that out, puts the 14th round on the board, and we are only 2 rounds away from a potential DePaul victory.
And this is to be expected to a degree. DePaul, they keep asserting their dominance inch by inch. They take space, they take control, and they live in the heads of their enemies rent-free at night. They'll see DePaul, the demons. That's why they're called the demons, I feel. They're just there always, demonic in their aim, demonic in their brain, as Breezy tries to change things, but Migs is right there. Slow them down just a touch. It's still 3v2, and DePaul at the threat of match point. You guys are so strong in this game. Holy.
So clean from DePaul in general. I mean, even when they're losing this, it doesn't feel like they're ever out of control of the round. And we're going to see if Just Rich can make something out of it, and really doesn't have much of a choice because, again, 14 rounds, you go to 15, the best you can do is tie and force overtime. And that's just not an option here. So Just Rich got to go in. He does find a shot, does some damage, but it's not enough to get that kill. And Def able to come in, swings out of that donut from tunnel, and closes it out really quickly. So Marquette, literally on the back foot here, needs to get as much as they possibly can because there's 9 rounds between them and just tying and overtime. And that's the best that they can hope for right now. But right now, they can't lose.
They can't. I mean, there's no. They still can, at least get to overtime, but they have to play a flawless game for Marquette. Not impossible, but definitely difficult, especially with a 7. I can't even do caster math here right now. That's not 7. That's way more than 7. About 9 rounds away from getting it all tied up. They did take out 1, but they're gonna need to play perfectly for the rest of it. And it looks like they're capable of it, as it's gonna be a 4v3 up against the demons. It's gonna be hard. The new demons are pushing forward. The trades go out.
I like the strategy to get aggressive with the smoke, but that, oh no, Alter didn't realize he was in the molly there, and that's going to cost them a player. Breezy takes out Migs, which means that this is just up to Stevo, a relatively new player on the Marquette squad to the core group there. So it's a lot of pressure for him to come in and potentially win this, but it's a lot. They didn't know where he was coming from, but Breezy finds him, and DePaul closes out the map 16-6. I loved what we started to see in those opening rounds. We saw very aggressive Marquette going up 4-0, a timeout, and then it was like magic. Like DePaul flipped a switch. They go 9 rounds without an answer before Marquette finds the only 2 rounds they would get for the entire rest of that match. I don't know what the reason or what. It felt like they were in Space Jam and they got their special juice from Bugs Bunny there. That was a pretty crazy moment in this map.
I mean, you said it. It's like a switch. It's almost like an internal reset button. Like you're restarting your PC, the Wi-Fi router has been reset. It's a new day, a fresh cup of coffee, and you're ready. And you're there, you're present. Everything becomes brighter. Every moment becomes cleaner. And it is so powerful. And I'm just surprised Marquette didn't time out themselves, especially because I'm raving, I'm ranting about it, how good it is. Why don't more teams do it like Marquette? I did say this earlier, 4-0 start is extremely impressive against DePaul, regardless of the outcome of what happened here today on Ancient.
You're entirely right. So Marquette can certainly walk away feeling pretty good about the fact that they were able to do the amount of damage that they did. There's more that needs to be done, and we're going to have the opportunity to see what kind of response the Marquette Eagles, Golden Eagles, come back
Golden Eagles
to face off against the Blue Demons. And of course, what other map is it going to be other than Inferno? So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to reset, and we're going to see how these two powerhouse teams come back to clash once again. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. We're about to start map 2 on the league favorite Inferno. Once again, seeing it for the 5th time in a row in a series. And, I'm not sick of it, probably. But more importantly, we have to find out if DePaul is going to show the same type of presence and dominance that we saw on Ancient, which notably was the Marquette pick. They do make a lot of those kind of off picks. It's something we talk about a lot. And it worked out a lot in the early round, not so much in the later rounds. But Marquette's going to have the opportunity to start out on the CT side, and they're starting with aggression. Migs and Alter finding a kill apiece in alt mid. Going to put down 2 players on the DePaul side, but they're answering right back as they make their progression towards the A site. A little bit of a missed timing is going to bring this right back to equal. Stevo finds the Hall's kill, and once again, DePaul down 1 player to Marquette, but they figured out that there's so many players on the A site, they must not be on B, and that is correct. You see Ace trying quickly to make that rotation all the way back to CT spawn. He gets into church before the DePaul team knows that he's there, so he's going to have a little bit of an opportunity to maybe get a little bit more info, maybe get a free kill, but the bomb is going to go down. DePaul has control of the site, and Marquette once again on retake.
And Marquette, they did such a good job earlier on Ancient at the start. Are they going to be able to go into this start swinging, or are they going to be on the backboard, on the back end? The site take commences.
Oh, just the slow, oppressive push. They know where Chris is. He's at the back, and it doesn't matter. He finds 2 headshots, almost a third. Stevo comes out clutch for the Marquette team. It's going to give them the first round. It'll be a little close on the bomb timer there, but a huge first round win for Marquette. They really need to get this because we've seen what DePaul can do when you give them just a little bit of wriggle room. So I love to see this. It's a great opening.
Now, I mean, if we see this again, if we see the repeat and there's going to be a timeout from DePaul, I would hope Marquette can read into that, and also timeout may give them some time to rethink and reset here as well. Because the first round going to Marquette is a vote of confidence that they are going to try and potentially win that second round as well, as they're going to buy up. Now, it's still anyone's game because it seems as though DePaul also bought up. We see them being able to trade things out evenly, but are they going to be able to be consistent with it? Chris gets Stevo. That's 2 players in Marquette's side.
Marquette falling victim to the meta here, just buy. Really, especially if you get the bomb down, there's no reason for you to be conservative. And DePaul wastes no time. They buy up into it. They go to take the site, and you can see they're consciously putting players all the way down at the bottom of mid to prevent any rotation off of Banana, while the rest of the ball team holds on to site. And Marquette, very, very easy saved choice from them. They're going to hold on to the B site. They're going to try to hold on to these MP9s, but you can see DePaul, they smell that blood in the water. They're going for it. They're trying to figure out where anybody could be to take away any of those weapons and any advantage, and that's going to be super key going into round 3. You can see DePaul getting towards that B site, looking for any indication of a player. They're going to see the shoulder of Ace. That's 1 player from Marquette down, just 1 left in church. And as the claws start to close, Just Rich not only finds Def, but Chris as well. So suddenly a much better save than I think they were hoping for. And the Free Fire finds a third before the end of it. DePaul getting greedy there and paying for it.
Right near the back end. And hey, that means there's 1 player for each side saving. DePaul, being on the T side, has those AKs. There's only 3 players that can get it. It's broken buys for both these teams, so let's see who's going to be able to win out, as it's 1-2-1 in this opening round. Now, I mean, if this was a best of 3, if this was that type of situation, it'd be a lot more intense, but thankfully they have a little bit more calmer situation here. Marquette can really collect themselves and go together, as we see the pinstripes on the kill feed.
You love to see it. I mean, that was a great defense attempt by the Deagle, and for being completely outmatched in terms of the number of bullets that can fly at any given time, pretty good efforts being put down there. Def is going to find Just Rich trying into the rotation. It's going to leave just Ace with the FAMAS and Alter with the USP, and not a huge chance of something going on here. Alter finds the M4 in library, but importantly, he does not have any armor. You can see that his teammate has already made the decision to save on the B site. So the exit kills towards the library are going to be the best that Alter can hope for. And he is going to find the first one there on Chris. That's a big name to take off of the DePaul team. And as the bomb clicks down, it's going to be a second round on the board for DePaul. But there are 2 rifles staying with the Marquette squad.
That is going to be another save for Marquette. And I mean, 2 rifles in their hands. They've lost 2 rounds in a row. They don't have a good loss bonus just yet. And considering they are on the loss here, it makes it a lot harder. It makes it a lot... It's a lot more stress on them. Even this early on, they can't give DePaul too much space. Last time it happened, they took away like 9 rounds unanswered almost.
Yeah.
That's a crazy amount of rounds to just give away. You got to recollect yourself and push forward, as Chris is doing right now.
Importantly, they also need to keep DePaul to less than 9 rounds if they want to win this series, because otherwise they will fall to map differential. DePaul is starting to move towards that B site once again. The first of the aggressors goes down with a follow-up from 2 yet to be seen. 1-for-1 trade again. That's going to give them a 2-for-1 overall. And Steve-O playing from the back with that 5-7, doing an excellent job at laying down a whole bunch of damage. The bomb still remains in T spawn, and you can see that one of the DePaul players, Chris here with the ump, has taken control of the A site. That moto smoke is going to go down, and the Breezy has to run all the way from spawn with the bomb. That's going to give plenty of time for all 4 players from Marquette to make that rotation. Whether they're going to expect the positioning of DePaul at this point is anyone's guess, but they've got a pretty good chance of bringing it back. Mig's still only with the USP, but they do have 3 rifles now that they picked up from the team. Breezy opens up, finding Steve-O from that top mid position. The rest of the team still just trying to find some answer, some amount of information. And you can see Breezy comes all the way back around to short, and just one by one, methodically, DePaul is removing Marquette players from the map, and ultimately too much for the Golden Eagles to handle. That's going to be another round on the board for DePaul.
The demons are coming out. They're getting ready to rumble in that pinch. It almost worked for Marquette, almost, because unfortunately the great plays coming out from Chris, finding Steve-O on the back end, broke that down. There was some utility set there, but they decided to triple up against the ump, and it did not work out.
A deceptively strong gun, for sure.
Oh, I personally really love it. The memes, they're always so fun to see, as Migs is able to, no memes, no jokes, using the M4 to clean up 2 players from DePaul.
That's exactly where they wanted to go. This is the type of kill feed that Marquette really needs to see. As you can see, a better use of utility, better use of aggression is going to give them some of those early picks. It's going to leave just Chris and Breezy, the 2 that closed out the last round together, alive, and certainly in a very dangerous position, meaning both of these players are not anyone that you'd like to meet in a CSGO alley alone. And they're showing why that is. They're continuing to make progress, take space, and this is kind of put Marquette in a strange position. Like, they have a sense of where these players are to some degree, but they don't really have control on the DePaul side of either side, or really any space. But Breezy just walks right up to the box and finds Migs, trades out with Steve-O playing from the pit position, and it's going to leave just Chris, who's continuing unabated to the A site. Marquette now has to split their efforts between the 2. Looking in the wrong direction is Steve-O, and that's going to be Chris taking advantage of the site. He's going to go directly in, get the bomb down, and now Marquette in an uncomfortable 2v1 position against a very, very capable player from DePaul.
I mean, in the game of numbers, you generally win out, but unfortunately, they're not playing close enough together to get those trades, to get those back and forths, and that is going to give Chris so much potential here. Hearing nothing, decides to push through the smoke.
Smart.
He hears nothing. There's no balance there. He doesn't know where they are, and therefore they mustn't be there. And if they are, he's confident in his place. He's able to grab one. Now he's gonna be able to find the other.
No, he got off the bomb. Oh, damn, that was so close. Pros don't fake, and that's the mantra that everybody's gonna go through. And like I said, Breezy and Chris are just absolute monsters, and they showed exactly why that is. They took a 4v2 and just methodically split the Marquette team in half, finding those one-on-ones, taking everybody down and ultimately taking the round. And Marquette, they're doing a lot right. They're just missing on some of these places where the DePaul teams are just getting the better trades on some of those gunfights.
And those trades matter so much. The methodic plays we see from DePaul being able to push through the smoke as they did right there. Chris pushes in and he's able to grab one. Same with Breezy. They're just dismantling Marquette here piece by piece. One more goes down, a little bit of spray on your teammates. Hey, when you have so many players left alive, it's all good. Oh. Oh.
Ace gets one. That'll count for something here.
I mean, it gives them a decent amount of money, that's for sure. And he also picks up a rifle to save for the future rounds.
Can he hold on to it is the question. Chris coming in here with the deagle. Oh, I saw the gun barrel. Oh no. That's a tough position to be in when you get seen there and there's just really nothing you can do about it. So they did the best. Not quite enough to close it out there. But it was Nico. Take what you can get from it. We're going to see the Marquette squad buy back here.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they go for some cheesy and interesting plays, but seeing Steve-O's gun of choice, I mean, I have a vote of confidence. There's a lot of capabilities here. Shotguns are fun and memey, but they're also sometimes in the hands of professionals, in the hands of pros and players, way better than me, they can do a lot of damage.
You got a lot of utility on this map from the Mag 7 and the auto shotty. And a lot of it comes down to those pixel peaks like we just saw there. Ace sees literally just a few pixels from Chris there and managed to take him out. Unfortunately, Breezy does the exact same thing coming out of apartments. He gets a 2K for it. Alter comes in to trade for his teammate. Most importantly, they've got him on an op. That has been a huge impact in the rounds that they have won, has been giving him the opportunity to do so. Zach describing his displeasure with his teammate having lost out there. And now the DePaul team is in a familiar situation. This time it's a 2v3 instead of a 2v4. Zach and Yif are just looking for that information, but Alter playing from that Arch's side is going to find the first one, almost gets the second, manages to get away, goes for the repeat and goes down to Yif, who's going for that Arch's position. He's going to look for it, not see anybody, and that's going to be just enough information for Migs playing from the pit position to put another round on the board for them. Finally, 5 unanswered, finally brings one back, and Marquette is 2-5.
Hey, they got the max loss bonus, so that's all they needed. They needed that money. They needed that economy, and that buy-up will help them a lot.
Now they have to capitalize this and keep that streak going. It's super important that they start to close this back on CT. Get as many rounds as you can. We saw how important each one of those is coming from the last map. And not only that, but the 9-round cap that they have to deal with. And Marquette getting a little cheeky on their own there. Finds a lot of utility from buying that Zeus. But on the other side, DePaul has started to move into the B site. They don't check the top of second oranges. And that's going to be a free kill onto Just Rich. And now Zach, who's trying desperately to find where these shots are coming from, is going to lose his life to the grenade. And now it's just Def against 5 players from Marquette. Too little, too late. Another round on the board for Marquette against the Eco round. And DePaul sees their lead close to just 2.
And I mean, it was perfectly flawless. No one goes down. Maybe a couple little hits here or there, but no one falls. And that means they can bonus consistently. The economy starting to grow in Marquette's favor, the round lead tightening, and the stress building on DePaul. It's all a matter of time until Marquette can at least close this gap by a little bit more. Alter is getting pushed out of position. I mean, they're on a lower buy, so they're going to try and run in there, see if they can find someone, but that run in does not work out as Just Rich is able to find someone on the back end over there. Chris, oh, he has that the capabilities of maneuvering around them, maybe getting some cheeky kills, as Def does as well to Alter. And
oh
that's
no, that was the op.
In Def's hands. Yes, that was the op.
No, the timing. Oh, jeez. Oh, the double kill from Migs. That's 3 now with a nade kill mixed in between those. And it's Chris, who's done so much damage in previous rounds alone in a 1v1 against Ace, who manages to pull it out. Marquette in a round that is way too close for comfort, does pull it back, brings the lead of DePaul to within 1. And this is, I mean, that's a huge confidence building streak of rounds for Marquette. It's another question, can they keep that up? But so far, they get to revel, at least for a brief second, in the fact that they've now strung 3 together.
And I mean, they were able to near that end, but I mean, if they consistently have these crazy rounds, it might be difficult. Chris buying up a AK, and for most teams, I would say, I mean, you're buying up a single AK against opponents that are all.
What a shot through the smoke. That was DePaul, who just rushed onto the B site, and only Just Rich was sitting at the back of site there as the literal only defense for it. They basically get the bomb down for free as a result of that, and Marquette on the back foot trying to play retake now against teams they picked up rifles. They now have everything that they really needed. They have head armor, and so this is a really difficult situation that could have been much simpler. They made the gamble to go towards the A site. It wasn't the correct call, and Yif with a double spray down closes out the round once again for DePaul. They look back and in true form, but that was an expensive round all the same. So they're going to go into this with the opportunity for Marquette to reset them.
I mean, I was literally going to say, if anyone is going to be forcing up some weird buys, it's got to be DePaul. They have some strategy. They have some thought processes. DePaul literally had only 1 rifle in that round, an AK in Chris's hands, but that was enough. That's all they needed, clearly, to win out. Chris currently, I mean, he doesn't even need a full rifle. SMGs work just as fine. He's able to run in there and get the opening pick for DePaul's side. And I mean, if anyone's going to do it, I guess it's DePaul, showing us how it's done, using a hero rifle and a broken buy.
You see that DePaul has basically fully committed to the A site now. You can see all of the utility going into pit. They missed the flash there, which is going to leave them alive and really unanswered. Migs gets a little bit of a kill from the site before being taken down. And Ace, who originally survived the initial onslaught, just goes down to the rifles of the DePaul squad, leaving just Stevo and Just Rich trying to get something out of it. They're trying to be cautious, pick up these rifles, and see if they can make something out of this. They don't need to push for it, and given that they haven't found much information, you see them starting to push back down mid and alt mid, looking for something. That kill is going to be a little bit of a consolation prize, but not enough for them to change course and head back in the direction of the bomb site. They're going to run out of time. This is going to be another round for DePaul, but looking a little bit cleaner. I think a couple adjustments from Marquette that might have gone the other direction.
And I mean, those little adjustments, those little small changes, maybe playing a bit more aggressively, holding an angle, clearing something a bit more, work out. They were able to pick up 1, but again, it took them 5 rounds to find another. And then I just hope it doesn't take 5 more rounds for them to, like, if it does, it's going to be such a unfortunate set of circumstances. I just don't expect it happening here. Marquette, again, the only team to take a game off DePaul, map off of them. They're going to try their best here again to do and relive some of that glory as Just Rich opened things up for Marquette Golden Eagles.
Love the double flash there. It gets both of the players from DePaul a little bit less, but that's going to give them control over it. Sack playing from the log position finds Just Rich and Stevo as he peeks out, trying to get some results, and that's going to open up the entire B site. But as he makes the decision to make that traversal into the site, there isn't any bomb there for him. So Alter with this FAMAS is looking the wrong direction. Oh, you hate to see it. That was something that we had so much hope for, but we saw even after a great opening from both of the banana players, just not enough.
Oh. They have double the rounds. Marquette University is again on the back foot. Nothing that they aren't confident in playing in. They've been on the back foot before and they've done some magical stuff, but can they consistently pull off numbers? It looked so well for Marquette early in that round, but it did not work out for them. Oh no. Oh yeah. He's hiding in the corner, but they're just able to read into it. Alter, the only one able to find something there. He's found another?
He can do. I mean, we've seen what Chris can do. That's basically Alter for Marquette. When he goes off, you can do some pretty wild damage. And unfortunately, not able to do much to pull it out there. But still, I mean, I like what I saw from parts of it. But Marquette's, I think, in a position where there's a lot of pieces. They're just not together in the way that is ultimately netting them round wins. And that's really important. Here we are. DePaul has officially hit the threshold to win this series. So if they go up one more round, that is technically the series over to the DePaul side. But Marquette can still win this map. And that's super important, as we talked about the standings earlier. RIT hot on the heels of both Villanova and Marquette, who are separated by just a 1% win rate. That's pretty crazy.
Crazy indeed. It's still 5-5, and some time has already started ticking. It is rifles for both sides, both teams, but I was wary that it was going to take 5 rounds for them to get something as Breezy finds Alter. I hope it doesn't come true, but it's seeming like that might be the case. The adaptation is just not fast enough as Stevo is able to take out Sack.
A slight pause and reset. You can see there's a DePaul player all the way into spawn, and that's going to be kind of a strange split because I think Stevo might know that there's someone there, or at least suspect that there's an opportunity. But of course, it's Chris playing from that position. He's going to give away the sound cue, and I don't know that he thinks Stevo is there. So Stevo hits the shot that's going to take one of the main threats from DePaul off, but the bomb is going to go down from the DePaul side. They're now playing retake. Stevo just low health, and there is a scout from Def. So a better chance than I think Marquette has had, but they're going to wait to see if they can get any information before they make the commitment to this. Miggs is looking for that information. Stevo on the op is going to double peek and go down to Yip, leaving just Miggs once again to try to clutch for his team as he rushes through the flames, trying to save the round. He goes down to Yip, and DePaul officially take the series with a 10-4 scoreline. But it's not over yet. Marquette still has a chance to turn this around in the next round and the next half.
Oh no, I mean, there's a lot of chances there, but when you're going up against one of the best teams that that I've ever seen, it is really difficult. Marquette, it's not over till it's over, and you guys did so great. I'm still confident. I love rooting for the underdog. The flash goes out for Yip. He's able to find one, and they're just running in with the stack. They see the stack, and Miggs is able to get it and run away. He's running back into apartments, hiding up in the balcony. That was definitely a funny sight. Probably a good chuckle for DePaul, but it's just 2 players left for Marquette. Banged up for Just Rich. He's on low HP, 22. They're gonna be, I think, throwing away the ops so that no one can save it. Seems like that might be the case. Molly, so then cutting off Banana, and they're just gonna be running all the way over to B site, which is basically just open. They're flashing it for their teammates to make sure that Sack isn't going to get caught off guard, but realistically, it's nothing that they're not comfortable with. DePaul gets the plant down, and they're looking to secure a number 11.
Marquette, it's just had a lot of difficulty kind of keeping momentum on one side or the other, and DePaul has been very good of saying, okay, we know where these players are. We don't need to take this fight. We can just keep pushing on. And of course, when you leave Chris alive, it's just a matter of time. Breezy and Chris have been such a dangerous clutch pair. We've seen that in several rounds on this map. And that's going to do it for the first half. DePaul up 11-4 as Marquette switches over to the T side. Marquette has to make a statement with this opening, and they have to keep that momentum going. Otherwise, we're going to see the second map for DePaul.
I mean, it was just chaos. It's hard to go up against such a dominant team, and I understand the mental of Marquette. I've been in this state before. You've been losing some rounds, and you got to really push through. I believe that they can do it as well. The mid rush doesn't work out just in their favor, gives away a lot of their positionings, but hopefully this aggression does. Bomb gets lost. They push away, but they need to go get it. USPS is so powerful at long range. Yif has already found 3 players. Alter retaliates with Chris, but I mean, it's just just crazy here in mid as Marquette can't pull it together, can't tighten up their strategy here. DePaul's able to take another round.
DePaul did exactly what Marquette did in that first round, which worked out pretty well for them. Get really aggressive in apps, look for that alt push, see what you can get out of it. Quite a significant element there. So DePaul starts the second half really strongly. Marquette down on their back foot, have to try something, and their strategy for that is don't buy anything going into round 2. See what you can get for round 3 of the second half. Yif finding Stevo as the opening kill, and you can see DePaul taking a note from a bunch of our teams. Get super aggressive. Don't give them any information. Don't let them get settled at all. Just like what we saw them starting to do on Ancient once they got later onto it. And that's going to be the end of the round for this part, or this opening second round in the second half.
Second round in the second half. Second round in the second half, and in the second half we have 4-13. The absolute dominance showing here, defying every single odd. Marquette needs to push through and come at least get a couple of rounds, get some maps into their map differential there, hopefully, so they can be, you know, maybe get some a little bit higher on that leaderboard, right? They're currently 3rd seeded, so maybe if they can take a couple of rounds, it looks good for them. But Def is saying, hey, no, you can't. We're not gonna let that happen. We're gonna keep winning out here.
That's exactly what they want to do. I mean, if certainly you want to see them come back and get to this tie, or I mean win. I mean, we're again talking about the underdogs in this situation being Marquette, but if they can continue to find really anything positive from it, they certainly have the opportunity to do so. This could have gone the other direction. You have Yif with a scout against Ace with an AK in this 1v1, but the bomb is all the way back in T-spawn. Pretty commonplace to leave it, because why not? So there's a minute left on the clock. Ace certainly could find a way to bring this back. He either needs the kill or he needs the bomb. Yif is still kind of playing with the expectation that he's sitting on the B site, potentially moving there. Ace has been very slow and methodical towards getting to that. So it's really up to Yif to be looking the wrong direction. And he just sees Steve, and that's all it's going to need. Oh, that's really difficult. Ace, excuse me, not Steve-O. Just the wrong way at the wrong time. It's going to be enough for Marquette to take another L, unfortunately, and DePaul is 1 round closer to a map victory.
In this situation, it's kind of almost, I'm left speechless. Marquette, it's just very small mistakes. It's nothing that they're doing wrong. It's nothing like, oh, they're clearly not doing this, they're clearly not doing that. But no, they're doing everything they should be. They're spreading out. They have people playing on banana over there in mid. They have everything. They're defaulting. They're trying to play together as a team, but it's just not working out against the aggression from DePaul. Even if in the trades, they're still down in numbers. And at the threat of match point in the next round, 15-4 is imminent here. The no scopes from Def as he's able to grab one, tries to find another, just runs in there, but that might be their downfall as the Zeus, the cheeky plays, go out. And I mean, now an op in a hand. I mean, maybe getting a 1 or 2, a collat even as well, but it's just, they're not doing anything wrong. I think it's just DePaul being really strong. Slight.
We'll see if Alter can do something with that scout. He picks up the M4 and does find that second kill. So the damage and the team inflicted damage is coming back to bite them just a little bit. So once again, we're in this 1v1. Alter versus Breezy, 2 players that we've talked about a lot, looking for each other, and Alter with the right timing. Breezy, a little difficulty finding this, sort of the shots goes down. That's going to be a 5th round on the board for Marquette, but they're still playing against a very slim margin. So we'll see if they can build something from that.
And I mean, this is where some of those misplays from DePaul, I mean, we don't normally see them, but they happen nonetheless. They lose some of their utility and do some team damage against themselves, and that bites them. This is why we always say, like, hey, you got to be careful with your utility. If that happens and, you know, you lose out, you lose out. And that can start snowballing in Marquette's favor. DePaul can lose some of those rounds in the differential, and that makes them lower on the leaderboard as well. And it's definitely not good for your stats, as Def is the only player alive, and Marquette is looking way healthier right now with weaponry to boot.
DePaul's been playing on a pretty slim margin, and you can see that as a result of that last round's loss, they didn't really have anything to buy back into it. So they go for the eco strategy. They get punished in mid and another round to Marquette. I like the position that they're starting to play out here, but Marquette still has a long way to go.
And hey, I mean, this is where small mistakes like that really start to pile up and add up. Marquette on the 6 rounds, they got 2 more from that. It is still a fracture to buy here for DePaul. A couple of players have weapons, the scout for EF, I believe, and it is really powerful, but in the hands of some AKs, Migs and Just Rich are able to get some weapon, some kills of their own, right? They're starting to make some room for themselves.
Those Deagles doing some pretty great work, but Alter with the op is able to hold those angles, win out a bunch of those battles, and across the map, Marquette has figured out that they have control of the site. They know where the last player is, and it's Chris. So now Alter still hanging out there, looking for that last kill, which he's gonna find, and that's gonna put us another round on the board for Marquette, slowly staving off of the potential inevitable. But DePaul, I mean, they made the decisions obviously consciously to not buy into those rounds so they could save up, make some better decisions in terms of their finances coming into these other rounds. That could be enough to bite them. It depends on how Marquette's able to continue playing these advantage, but you can see they've built up a nice bank. So even in situations where they lose a round, they're going to have enough to buy back and continue to try for the tie. Nobody looking towards Banana is going to give basically a free kill to death onto Just Rich there, and a second one coming down Banana before Alter can finally shut down the machine that was Def, and that's going to be 2 kills towards the B site, going to force the rotation. But the Marquette players slowly, methodically, just marching towards each of these sites. They're going to have one player from DePaul on either side. One of them is Chris with a 5-7 who can be so dangerous. I can't talk about that enough. And Yif on the other side with a scout might be enough. I think the Marquette squad has a sense of where Chris might be playing, but they're not clearing it just yet, and that's going to cost them. Ace loses to Chris in that gunfight. The flash, so useful for Chris. He's now changed positions, and now it's just a matter of who wins against who. And it's going to come out as Alter as the final player from DePaul. Yif. That's not even fair. The things that man does with a scout should be considered war crimes.
You know what? It's hard to disagree. It's hard to find anything to say against it. He just does work with it, and the confidence to just stay on it as well is crazy to see. And there's, you know, they lost some of those rounds early on to some misplays and mishaps, but now they seem a lot more confident in their play to close things out here. But the map differential still not looking that good. You know, don't be losing those rounds, guys.
This is Marquette's last chance to make something out of this map for themselves. They are going to put down enough utility to do some damage with it, not finding any kills in Banana, as DePaul just continues to spam through the half wall, through the cracks there, trying to see what they can pull from it. And you can see both Stevo and Alter suffering from that spam. So Marquette's once again kind of in this position where they've got to do their best just to take whatever they can from the map. Ace finds that opening kill on the sack, is going to be the first casualty of this round. But DePaul, 3 players now on the B site against 4 players from Marquette lined up in Banana. It's really a matter of, is Marquette going to commit to this? Are they going to blink first? Or are they going to get the information that maybe there are fewer players on the A site than they thought and make that rotation call?
I mean, if they rotate, they can have a decent chance of success, but it's going to be stopped. Migs takes out Breezy, Yip takes out Alter, the pinstripes are starting, and now it's a 1v1. Migs, the captain and the leader for Marquette. Chris, the star player, 22-19 on the kill feed there as well for his KDA, and it is, I mean, it's a very strong KDA there. He's got a decent stat line, but it is a 1v1, and it can go either way. One player needs to win this out for Marquette, so they can win about... he catches the timing. Migs is able to grab Chris, and they're going to stay alive. I was going to say Marquette needs to win this so they can stay in it. DePaul so they can end it. And Marquette keeps themselves and buys themselves another round.
I am excited to have seen that outcome. I really wasn't sure what to expect from it, but Migs once again comes out clutch and puts DePaul in not the best buy position, but we've seen that they don't always need that. So we'll see 2 scouts and MP9 and a Deagle on the board. Alter finds Yif, who's been such an absolute thorn in their side, and a second going down Banana. That's so many frags just to Alter with his efforts, and Marquette's just slowly taking the threats, the battles coming from the DePaul side from either site, and just you know, they haven't needed to make a decision yet, but going out trying to find that gun. Stevo finds Breezy, that's going to open up the B site. 1 player left from the DePaul side with just the USP, probably going to go in favor of Marquette, but who knows? We've seen different weird miracles before. Zach just holding on to it. He might have had some connections issues, it looks like, slowly, or pretending to be AFK. Well, not a strategy that works. Trying to play possum at this level, you know, not so much.
Regardless of the situation, it is starting to tighten the gap. 9 rounds in favor of Marquette. That is going to be a, give me a second to do the mathematics. It is going to be 6-round difference. And they're slowly but surely rising up here in the gap. Sack probably still is debating, contemplating. There we go, back at it. And again, they might have been having some issues, but regardless, it is going to be, it's just consistently fractured buys for DePaul. And sure, Yif was able to do such a decent amount of damage with a fractured buy regardless, but if they can't consistently win things out, it's not going to work. That jump shot doesn't work against a player like Alter. He's just able to capitalize off of their movement there.
I can't believe that he missed that first shot. It looked like he was really on him, but once again, Chris is one of the last 2 players alive. He's got an MP9 alongside Sack, who's holding the off angle from sandbags as Marquette slowly tests the different areas, trying to clear every corner, making sure they're not going to give any free kills. Chris is starting to move up into that porch position. You can see Ace is playing in Boiler. So who's going to look at who is going to give them the first one? It looks like Ace looked the wrong direction, and that's going to give the kill over to Chris, and more importantly, a rifle. Sack decides it was time to peek, and it's going to take Migs what was a 3-2, suddenly a 2-1 in favor of DePaul, and it's just Alter with the op against both Chris and Sack, and those rifles can be incredibly deadly, and you can see Alter's looking the wrong direction. Yeah, it's for the funnies, but man, you hate to see it. A 9-16 scoreline again.
The hee-hees, the ha-has, the hoots and the hollers, but I mean, hey, it gives you more money. It gives you more money, and that's, you know, for those next rounds coming up. But unfortunately, 16-9 cuts us off near the end. We are done with this map. Inferno goes out with a blaze of glory. The Golden Eagles, they're not able to fly, spread their wings. The demons are out here again. The blue demons, not the red ones, not the fiery ones, even though it is on Inferno, even though they did play a fiery good matchup. The blue demons win out for DePaul. They won both matches. I mean, but they didn't go out without a fight, though. Marquette putting up an amazing show and performance there near the end, 9-16.
Yeah, dual mirror map results on both Inferno and Ancient. Nice to see it broken up a little bit. We didn't need to see Mirage again, so I'm thankful to that. And thankfully, you know, I mean, even with the craziness of that map, it was still really interesting. You know, you never really count any of those players out down to the individual level. We saw, again, Chris and Breezy on the DePaul team were maniacal on Inferno. They did such a great job in so many situations where it seemed all but guaranteed that Marquette would win, and that wasn't the case. Love to see it. Can't wait to see more Counter-Strike coming up. We are going to take a quick break. We'll see if somebody from DePaul is prepared for an interview, but otherwise we'll see University of Idaho versus Villanova on 2 maps that we haven't seen in a while. And I'm pretty excited. We'll see Overpass and Nuke, which love to see it. Very excited about that moment. So we're going to take a quick break, see that interview or the next map. Whatever happens, we'll see you in just a few minutes. Thank you so much for watching, and don't go anywhere. We're back, everybody, and now we're joined by Yif from DePaul after a convincing 16-9 dual score win on both Ancient and Inferno. Yif, how you feeling after the victory?
Pretty good.
Great, love to hear it. Very exciting. I think we all kind of came into this expecting, not really knowing what to expect, but definitely a good match. We've talked about it all the time just because of how unique it is. Marquette was previously the only team to take a map off of you. I feel like you came out and made it quite the statement today and saying you haven't really forgiven them for that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I love going back and forth, especially with Biggs. He talks everybody talks a good amount of smack, so I appreciate that. Looking into these maps, Ancient was Marquette's pick. Were you expecting that kind of thing? Were you prepared for some of the off picks that Marquette's known for, or do you just kind of go like, we'll see whatever we play and just play the game we normally do?
We try to run the default that we talk about during practice, and then if it doesn't work, we just go do each other like they're our own stuff. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it worked out, so I'll take that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ancient, during that pause, what were you guys talking about? What was the changes that you guys implemented? Because we saw some of the aggression, we saw some of the patience in some areas, but the aggression in others. What specifically were you guys discussing? If you can dip into the secrets for a little bit.
The pause was more for Chris and Breezy. Breezy was he dropped his food, and then Chris' mic wasn't working, and so like it was just like me as 4K and Def calming, and then Breezy's like panicking. So yeah, we just talked about how aggressive they play, and then I was like, I'm gonna push down B ramp every round, and then to counter that, yeah.
So okay, wait. I need to. The question must be asked: Is that what is to blame for that opening on Ancient, or?
I mean, yeah, just miscommunication. I mean, and then we're losing every single fight, and I was like, huh, if they're taking space away from us, then we should take space away from them. And I was like, I'm gonna push ramp.
I mean, it's a mark of a good player to be able to adapt on the fly and really understand, like, hey, these are what our opponent's doing. So hats off to you guys.
Thank you, thank you.
You talked a little bit about that strategy switch, and we saw it kind of on both maps. First with Ancient, you could see literally after that timeout, you did exactly what you talked about. You had two players in mid almost every round, all the way up to Cat, all the way up into lower mid. Like there was no space for anybody to move. Obviously, got a lot of information on it. You're doing the same thing to a lesser degree, but same kind of strategy on Inferno until Marquette started winning rounds. So was there kind of like a moment where that strategy came into play, or something specific that you can recall that said like, we figured this out, we're going to keep pushing for that, and or any adjustments kind of thereafter that made sense?
I think we're just all. I mean, not really. I think we're all pretty confident that we can win our gunfights.
Yeah.
And we usually just go for it. Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what you got to do. You have the confidence, and you especially. I mean, we've talked about it, I think, probably every week that we've seen you on stream. I watch you with that scout, and I cry a little bit inside, knowing that I'm not gonna get to that level. And I don't know. It's been 20 years that I've played this game.
Wow!
So,
Wow!
can you tell me a little bit about your strategy around the scout? We've seen a lot of the times you'll pick the scout over the op or another rifle. What's your mentality as the scouter of DePaul?
I tag them in the body, and my players just shoot them.
I mean, I've seen what you do with the no scopes and just the headshots, which I mean, I guess that's a staple of that weapon. But geez,
yeah, they started.
That's a moment.
Yeah. I was molding a little bit when they were opping down mid, and I was like, damn, they have an op.
Yeah, well, I remember towards the end of your CT half, you came on in that 2v1, found the no scope, and then the headshot over the box, and something that I thought was an impossible win for you. But I was proven wrong. You shut me up immediately, and I was like, all right, well, the scout is what it is. All right. Well, I appreciate that insight very much. It was really great to hear from you. Congratulations on the win. Can't wait to see you back again next week, especially as we get towards the playoffs. So the last question that I'll ask is I always do any shout outs or as a little bit of a twist, anything that you're really looking forward to over the last couple of weeks of the season.
I think we're playing really good right now. Shout out to my team. Everyone's playing well. Their confidence level is high. Shout out to the casting crew. Shout out to Migs. That's it. Looking forward to? Nothing really. Just trying to
Keep your head down. Keep it going.
yeah, just
Fair
keep it
enough.
going.
I love the mentality. Yeah, thank you so much for the insights. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much for being here. And that is going to do it for our DePaul versus Marquette matchup. So we're going to take a quick break. As I said before, we're going to come back. We're going to see the University of Idaho on Villanova, starting off with Overpass. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.